Training camp is here. Training camp is here. And lots of things are going on in training camp because training camp is here. It's a new year. And I still didn't change my promos, which means this Saturday, which is 3 days away, I got to get to work. But for now, hopefully for one of the last times, because you're probably sick of seeing it, I only have this. I would regret it if people look back at the first episode and you weren't on it.
Yeah, well, I like that. It's called forward thinking.
We have one of the worst beats in the world. We do. Our beat is horrible.
Connor could shove that article up his ass.
And then I went to that game and I was like, this is the greatest team I've ever seen in my life. I'm a Jet fan. This is going to be the greatest run ever. Yeah.
No, because if they take Aquanu, I'm not complaining.
Joe Douglas is the king of keeping shit close to the vest.
A 2, a 4, and a 6 for Darnold?
Did the Jets really ruin Sam Darnold? Or did Sam Darnold just suck all along and we were just trying to talk ourselves into it?
And Hamilton is a player who can potentially make a very big impact.
And suddenly here we are today, you can't get rid of him.
Right, it's like a plague.
Joe Douglas was hired because he's not those general managers.
Okay, Luscious.
Somebody is going to fall just like Elijah Moore did, just like Michael Carter did.
You know, if you had one sentence to say to Joe Douglas, what would you say? So you would say, you had me at hello, and then give him a big old wet one right on the smack.
All right, so let's get started. First, we're going to say hello to some people in the chat. First people here. Hope you liked it. If you're in here, hit that like button. Help me out. Let's get more people on the stream. J. Cole with the calzones. Yeah, man. I got 4 days coming up in New York. I got to decide on that weekend. Is calzone win some of that precious space in my stomach over those 4 days? We'll see. Dakota, what's going on here, man? Yeah, Becton, baby. I know you're a fan. Captain K Techno, my friend from Ireland. What's up, my laddie? Bismo Charismo from Australia is in the house. Arkansas Jet fan, the kid that's probably in his garage with 2 golf carts. What's up? Dom C in the house. Talking Jets with Tigo is back, everybody. He's back. And hey, Nick, why don't you get him the link if he wants to come in? If you hear me, Nick, I know you're backstage. Get him the link. Thanks. Hank G, what's going on, brother? Johnny G, finally some real Jets news. Well, I'll take that as a big compliment. Thanks, my friends. Looking forward to getting started. Eminon, what's going on, brother? Blitz BK in the house. Snacks is right. I got my snacks. Anthony G, what's going on? Rod D, what's going on, my friend Rod D? Max Million. Look, everybody's coming in, man. We're just piling in today. We got Robert S here. Call Jets. We're going to call the Jets. Yeah. I'm going to call the Jets games this year with Green Bean, by the way. And now, without further ado. Oh, we got somebody here. Buffalo, it's back. And we are getting closer and closer, not only to the opener, but we are getting closer to week 2. Post-Jets game, the big show. It's coming. Kelly Wilson, what's going on in the house? And now, without further ado, because I'm dying here, and you know why I'm dying? Because I don't have my esteemed co-host. My Wednesday night co-host with me since week 3. He is the hot dog eating, pizza eating, wicker chair sitting, New York Rangers, New York Mets brooding, statistical analysis lunatic of the world. Fox K99.
Could you have a better day, Jets Nation? Think about this. Could you have a July day as a Jets fan that could be more perfect than this? We're going to run down all the facts, but remember, there is nothing that could be more as exciting as the signing of Luke Barkoo, and we're going to break it all down tonight. You know where you
Hi.
wanted to be tonight. We are here. We are ready. Thank you for joining us. Let's get at it.
And you know what I love? I love that we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Not on a day like this. Not when we got all this training camp stuff to talk about. No. We need some muscle.
We need some height.
We need a guy who knows how to get down. We need some meatball stuff eating, not salad eating.
We need the next disciple of the Mackay Becton diet.
Beer drinking, your peppermint patty eating. Let's get ready to rumble!
And we're out of time. Thank you for joining us.
What's up, boys? What a good day. Nobody got injured. What a great day.
Nobody's out for the year.
No injuries. Fantastic day.
It is good stuff. It is good to be here.
That was pretty
injuries.
impressive how long you held that note too, Jay. I gotta give you credit.
Oh, I could have went longer.
That was very road
That's
dog.
what she said.
Jesse James. Yes, it is. Never about him though, but she has said it. That was very road dog Jesse James from DX, the tag team champions of the world. The bald man, Jeremy K. The maniac, Adam B.
One of the things I did in Comedy Sports, which is, as Adam has seen it, because they had a Richmond troupe, we had a mic. All the performers had to do a lot of different things. If you wanted to play a lot, the more you did, the better. And I was really good at announcing. So sometimes I'd be in the booth playing the music, adding things, doing the announcing the performers on to the stage. And I used to do Let's Get Ready to Improv, and I would hold that as long as I could until the audience would start applauding. Like I refused to stop until I got my applause. So
How do you train yourself to hold a note that long? Is it like breathing, or what do you have to do to get better at that?
It definitely some practice, but I don't know. I can't say.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
I did it, and then I did it
A lot
longer.
of time
and then
being
longer.
high to hit the high note.
I was surprised I could still do it. I'm so out of shape right now that I thought I was gonna lose my breath faster, but I was able to hold it, so that's good. But anyway,
all right, guys, great show, man. We gotta do this again. That was. I don't think we can get any better than that opening. We just gotta. That's it. Squadoosh, it's over.
The Macketeer is here. The Mac Man, Macketeer.
Yeah.
What's up, chat? How's everyone doing?
Coming on. Good to see you.
Tigo, I don't know if you saw the comment. Twitter DM, buddy.
Hey, Tigo.
So I learned something this week. Before we get into the Jets, I just want to share it with everybody. Maybe some of you knew. I didn't know. A friend of mine from work told me. I had no idea. He said, dude, you know how Big Macs are super expensive? He goes, they're like a fortune now. Fast food has went up like crazy. So it's like you go now and all you can get are like, you can afford the McDoubles and the double cheeseburgers. They have deals for that, but no more Big Mac. You got to pay like $7 for it, $10 for the meal. Wow. I said, yeah. He goes, well, do you like Big Macs? I go, I love them. He goes, well, here's your tip. He goes, get 2 double cheeseburgers and just say, add mac sauce and shredded lettuce. And all you're missing is the one little bun in the middle, but otherwise it's a Big Mac.
And it's a low carb option, apparently.
It's
what I would do is I would get the 2
carb.
doubles. I would get the 2 doubles, and I would take like the 2, a top bun and a bottom bun away, and make it like 1 quadruple because they're very, very tiny.
Now there you go. Hey, if you're on keto, In-N-Out Burger makes it really easy. They do it in lettuce, wrapped in lettuce. You can get like their triple burgers. Nice. Everything's wrapped in lettuce.
The lettuce wrap is not a bad way to go. It's really, really not. If you put enough like toppings in it, it can actually be pretty good.
Yeah, once you get used to it.
Yeah.
I saw Tigo earlier comment said, I got to put the baby on the wife. Bro, you did that about 10.5 months ago. Let's calm the hell down, all right?
So the first thing I want to talk about is, now I hate the way people act like there are 2 camps. Then that's what drives me crazy. There are not 2 camps on this. There was one camp, which was the hater. There was the next camp, which was the concerned, Nick. And then there was the next camp that had lesser concern. It was more angry and saying it was being exaggerated. But 2 of those 3 camps were fine. Nick wasn't wrong for being concerned. He had every right to be concerned about Becton and about just worried about him. Like, the guy has weight problems, worried, had concerns, fine.
There were legitimate questions I raised.
Right. Well, no, they were good questions. And I had a little bit less concern, but I at the end, I agreed with you that they were worthy concerns. But then there were people out there calling him a lazy bum. He's a bust. He's finished. He stinks. We should have taken somebody else. And those are the people tonight I want to say, you were wrong. You were so wrong. Because Becton looks great. And apparently, he looked pretty good today. And a lot of people are saying, I know the next thing is people are going to say, why is he at right tackle? Why is he right tackle? First of all, his attitude and reaction to being called a right tackle was beautiful. He said, I just want to be on the field playing. So you can't ask for more than that from a guy. No bitterness, no complaining. He said, I can't wait to be on the field. I don't care what position I play. I'm going to play. And I know Nick respects that. The other thing is, it's not a knock on him. And I know people are panicking like, well, why would he only play right tackle? There's a very big consensus that the reason he's playing right tackle is not about Becton. It's about Fant. Fant is better at right tackle. At left tackle. He played the best version of George Fant is left tackle. And if you look at the attributes of the players, Fant is really great or had his best season in pass protection, and Becton was really excelling as a run blocker. So it makes a lot of sense. Also, it makes a lot of sense to put Tomlinson and Fant together, right? And then put the 2 younger kids that are really good at pancaking people and run blocking on the right side, which is not Zach's blind side. It doesn't mean that Becton in the future will not eventually move to left tackle. But the bottom line is, if our offensive line, if this is what gives us the best run blocking and the best pass protection, we shouldn't be yelling, you see, and thinking of it as a negative. We should be happy that we're doing what's best for the team. What do you have to say about that, Nick?
Just to reiterate, like, my questions were legitimate at the time.
Yes, I'm not putting them down. I agree.
Said he's got 6 weeks to answer them, right? And he did. And he showed up in great shape. I think the most important thing this training camp is getting to week 1 healthy, fully loaded, all of your main pieces in play. The most eye-opening thing our coaching staff said at the end of last season was what? We're not going out to the combine. Or was it the combine they stayed back for? Yeah, they did self-assessment, right? They didn't go out to the combine. And Salah and staff, they did some self-assessing. And one of the major things that they came out with was saying, maybe we don't push these guys so hard in August and we get to opening day healthier. Something that we're all happy about, something that we've all, discussed at length in the last couple months. I don't care who's left, who's right.
Right.
Like, I don't give a damn. We know our best 5. Put our best 5 out there. I am ecstatic that decision was made today and not 4 or 5 weeks from now. The gelling, the cohesion, the communication, the chemistry started from day 1. Now, let's be real. I'm going to call the coaching staff out. Could have said this months ago. You guys knew this. There hasn't been a practice to change anything. You knew this is what it's going to be. Why didn't you just say it earlier? Why draw it out? Unless I'm sure Fant knew. There's no doubt in my mind Fant knew he was coming in as left tackle. Why wait? Why just not say it from the beginning? Be like, he played fantastic for us. Coaching staffs are loyal to players that produce for them. Fant did that. Becton, unfortunately, was not able to last season. It's no knock on him. It's just the truth. He didn't get a chance to perform for these guys. Mm-hmm. So you're hearing already today rumors that now that this announcement is made, there may be a contract extension coming out for Fant. Becton doesn't have that yet. There's no guarantee Becton's going to be here long term. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just being realistic. I'm saying what it is. Becton hasn't had an extension yet with his contract. He's not eligible for it yet. So as of today, right now, Fant is the one tackle that we know who's going to be here, right? They want to make him here long term. I'm excited. I like Vera Tucker and Becton together. I like Tomlinson and Fant together. I really like the idea of Tomlinson pulling and going to the right. What the fuck was that? Did they get the win?
Not yet. First and third, one out.
Who's pitching?
Peralta.
The birthday boy, Peralta. Yeah.
Peralta.
Welcome
What's
to
up?
Mets Yankees channel.
Sorry.
We're sorry,
he's-
guys.
He's throwing up the Razor Ramon, and I'm like, oh crap, what just happened? He's a bad
I
guy.
didn't go this. I went this. It's infield single,
So-
first and third. All right.
We
Sorry.
you know, I'm enamored with that thought of schematically 3rd and 1, 3rd and 3, where we do something and Tomlinson pulls to the right side and he's kicking out the edge, and you got Vera Tucker and Becton just plowing people over. And then you got somebody like Ruckert in the backfield being like a lead blocker with Tomlinson, you know, or pulling Uzama on that side or something. The possibilities are endless. The talent level is much higher than we've seen in a long time on our offensive line. The last time we had a top offensive line in the league, I don't know, we went to 2 AFC championships in a row. So a lot of good pieces in place. Very glad that there's no prolonged drama. I'm glad that they squashed it immediately today. I'm glad that the announcement was made. I'm glad the way Becton responded. Today was as good of an opening day for Jets camp as we've had in a very long time. Every story that came out today was positive. There wasn't a negative. There wasn't anything that you like did the here we go again, like the woe is me, same old Jets. So granted, it's only day one. I think somebody before said, let's knock on wood. Let's do it all together.
Yeah.
So, you know, hopefully the sky is the limit for this team. And this is the beginning of a new era for the Jets. So I'm very, very excited about today and all the possibilities that it brings us as fans.
What say you, Adam?
Yeah, hopefully the sky is the limit as opposed to the limit being the sky, which is more what we're used to. So, yeah, for me, it was like, wait a second, one positive story after another. It was like, wow, all of a sudden, like, Connor seems like happy. Connor's, like, being objective, and Samini's, like, just really searching for, like, bad news and whatnot. No, but for me, it was just so cool to see one good story after another. Whether it was Zach looking good in drills, whether it was Denzel Mims, and we'll get to all of it tonight. There's a lot to get to. Denzel Mims playing well, whether it was the kickers not missing a single kick. I'll even go there. Joe Klecko being a finalist for the Hall of Fame. You know,
Amazing.
It was amazing. Okay, good night. Becton, it's over. Becton and Fant taking their positions.
Something in my eye. Did I get it, Jer? Did I get that thing in my eye?
It's a Marte party. You're still in first place. You'll win your division. You're good. All right.
We needed to win more.
We'll see you in the Bronx in August. It'll be fun. It'll be good. All right. But I am just really glad that, yes, they took care of this. They realized they need as few controversies as possible. They need these guys to focus on football. And here's the thing with Fant, and I'm thinking about what he really is going to be. For people who say that he sucks as a right tackle, how long did he really get to play right tackle last year? It felt like a quarter to 2 quarters once Becton got hurt. And then Moses came in. And do we need to go over who the right guard was that was playing next to him at right tackle? GVR, Greg Van Rotten. I'm saying it that way to make Nick happy. So, yeah.
We're going to win me back after that Met bullshit you just pulled.
Exactly. See?
You won me back, buddy. Good job.
It only took a couple minutes. There you go. But that is, to me, we got a very small sample size, but he's a natural left tackle. He got put into that role. He did very, very well. He's one of the few linemen, I think, he may be the only lineman on this roster who's better as a pass blocker than as a run blocker. Because Becton, I think Tomlinson, AVT, all better at run blocking. McGovern, you can make from McGovern. From what I could tell, seems like kind of a toss-up. But I like the idea of Fant on there because I want the best pass blocker on the left side protecting Zach's blind side. So to me, it makes all the sense in the world. I don't care about if we're so upset. Here's the thing: when they decided they were going to move AVT to right guard, I barely heard a whimper. But now they're going to move Mekhi Becton to right tackle, and half these people are having conniptions. Come on, you can't have it. You can't have it both ways now, everybody. So, to me, I am all in favor of putting Becton on the right side if it creates the best offensive line. And you know what? If they don't keep Fant, Becton can go right back over. Maybe Max Mitchell is ready to play right tackle. If he's not, you could sign a veteran. You could draft somebody to play that position. But I am very happy with what they're doing for this year. Now, they don't have the depth that we want them to have at the offensive tackle side. So it's all about the health. It's going to be, like we said, knock on wood all year long. But if they have that starting five on the field all year long, it's going to be a heck of an offense.
Okay, guys. Now, you heard me introduce New York Wicker Sports Media and proud New York Jets fan. Well, I got one more person I got to introduce right now. He's the baby holding, baby feeding, not sleeping Jets fan who loves Max Mitchell. His name is Gino.
Well, damn, that went on for a while.
That's what she said.
Well done. Well done.
All we need is Buffalo, and I think we'd be here till 3 a.m.
Probably. Well, you guys might be. Baby will wake up before that, and I gotta go run.
Fair point.
You take the baby like, here's Uncle Jeremy, Uncle Adam, and Uncle Nick. They're gonna help.
So
that is a scary thought.
These are the people that I will be screaming about the Jets with for the next few years.
You were pretty active in the chat. What say you? Talk about Becton, buddy.
I just think it's a mistake putting him on the right side. Like long term, it just doesn't make sense to me to put him on the right side. Like this is not me trying to hate on Fant. Let me start by saying that my love for Mekhi Becton does not mean that I dislike Fant. But the things that people say for Fant, like, oh, look at what he did, like, are all negatives in my eyes of like why he should play on the left side. It does not make sense to me for him to play on the left side. Because if we look at that offensive line and what we did last year, right? We got one quarter out of Mekhi Becton on the left side. He gets hurt. Then George Fant moves to the left, and Morgus Moses comes in. Now, one of the things that I think goes towards why Fant wasn't as good on the right side is what Adam said, right? Like GVR was playing guard. It's not a good look, right? Like it's not a good player to have next to you. But then you also add to the fact that like the first 6 games of the year were rough. I think before the bye, like he didn't look good on the left side. He got better down the stretch, right? But like the whole team did. We fixed the right guard position, right tackle starts playing better, the center gets more comfortable, the left guard starts getting more familiar because he's a rookie, right, in AVT, and then Fant starts playing better down the stretch. But the guy's 30. I just don't feel comfortable handing a multi-year contract to a guy who's 30, who his ceiling at left tackle is nowhere near the ceiling of what we saw out of Mekhi Becton. His ceiling. And that, for me, is why moving Becton to the right side, and then the one that I love that people say is like, oh, but it's only for a year. We move Becton back to the left side next year, and then Max Mitchell can come play right tackle. My thing is like, in what world does that make sense? In what world does moving a guy from the right to the left to the right to the left make any sense?
Well, they want to extend Fant. There's already talks about it.
Yeah, but they've been having that conversation. But like, again, I don't want to extend Fant. That's the thing that doesn't make sense to me.
Were you upset?
Laken Tomlinson is an all-pro guard. George Fant is a barely above replacement level, pretty good left tackle.
How can you say that when he was top 3 in sack percentage last year for left tackles?
But that was because of his numbers.
That's a fantastic stat. That's important to block the backside of your young quarterback.
Yeah, but Mekhi Becton is has such a better Like Mekhi Becton is
Becton
so
didn't
much
have
better.
those numbers.
As a pass
Becton did
blocker?
not have anywhere near those numbers his rookie season. Becton
No, he
did not
didn't.
have
But he
these.
also
Games
didn't
he was
have that
victimized.
offensive line. He also didn't have AVT next to him.
Okay, but I just want to say, I don't think this was about. It's not necessarily, and that's why they did it in the beginning of camp. It wasn't necessarily we're saying Fant is better than Becton. It's saying we believe that the bet right now, the best chance to win right now is Becton on the right because Fant is just simply he doesn't have that versatility. Apparently, he's just a better left tackle, and it's like even if you argue that Becton is better or as good. But then it gives us a problem on the right side because Becton doesn't play well on the right side. But
What
Becton
have
on the
we
left
given
side,
him on the
now
right
we have
side?
two solid positions.
But what have we given him in the sense of help on the right side? That's my argument. What we did was we gave Fant when he went to the left side, Elijah Vera Tucker, and I think we could all agree that Elijah Vera Tucker is a future Pro Bowl guard.
I hope so.
Now, what did we do when we gave him on the right side? GVR? That's what we're going to compare him when he was on the right side. His help was GVR.
But now with that same argument you just made, now you're giving him Tomlinson, an all-pro guard.
Totally on board. But he also has 1 year, a full year of experience with
That's
who
gonna
playing
change.
as his guard?
That's gonna
Elijah Vera Tucker. So
Yeah, but
moving
that's
him to
why
the
you
right
let-
side, you
let
keep the
Vera
guard
Tucker and
combo
Becton
too.
mature and come up together. And now you put Fant, who, if you're considering him and if I'm putting the wrong word in your mouth, you're considering him the weak link of those four. You're
No, no,
putting
no.
Tomlinson, our
It's-
best lineman, next to Fant. So he's got a better chance. He's got a chance to do better with all pro Tomlinson than he did rookie Vera Tucker.
It's not about like, again, if Fant plays on the left side and Mekhi Becton plays on the right side, that's fine. If the thing that I fear here is that this is slowly leading up to what I believe is going to end up being a George Fant extension. And that's what I'm not a fan of. Giving George Fant 3 years and making him what quite possibly might be a pretty hefty contract to be our left tackle of the future is one of the things where I go, that seems like a misallocation of assets. Now, again, the one thing that I have that a lot of people don't is a burning, rock hard passion, standing at attention for Max Mitchell and his potential and what he can play on this team, because I really like his upside. And I get that. That might be me really just liking the fact that we drafted one of my guys in the 4th round, which doesn't happen very often. But I just look at it and I go, giving Becton a big money contract, especially at this point, just doesn't make sense to me. I'm not a fan of it. I would rather give, there's other players and there's other positions and I would rather have that money be allocated elsewhere, because I just think Mekhi Becton on the left is ultimately what's going to happen next year. And I think Max Mitchell on the right is ultimately what's going to happen next year. So 1 year of Fant on the left and Becton on the right doesn't make sense to me if you're just going to switch it next year, which is what I hope happens, because I don't want to extend Fant.
I don't think
Even
they
if
are.
they do extend Fant, we know how Joe Douglas does these contracts. It's not going to be more than 2 or so guaranteed years. They will be an
Yeah,
easy
of
out
course.
after 2 years at the absolute least.
His
it's not as if
contract
we're
won't
giving
go-
him 4 or 5. This is not going to be Tremaine Johnson.
No,
It's
no.
not going to be that kind of a contract. So
It's not even going to go Fant's career as a Jet will end, even if he gets an extension, before we have to pay Zach. That's a guarantee, right? He doesn't get more than 3 years. It's just when I look at this team in the future, the future of this team, I see Becton on the left, Tomlinson playing here, AVT still here, and guard's different. Switching guard positions is a little bit easier. But to me, the future of this team is with Becton on the left. And if it's not, then I think we need to address left tackle seriously. And I think that's when you start looking at drafting a tackle in the 1st round, because I don't think Max Mitchell is our left tackle of the future. I think he's a right tackle.
Let me ask you guys a question in the chat as well. If you had to pick one guy to say he's on this team in 3 years, is it Fant or Becton?
Can you repeat that?
If you had to pick one of the tackles and you had to bet money to say which of these, there's only going to be one on the team in 3 years from now, going into the 2025 season, one of these guys is here. Is it Fant or Becton?
It's Becton.
Becton.
Fant's not here after 2. If we give him a 3-year extension, we don't take his 3rd year.
Jared?
Long term, I mean, for me, I want Becton. I want Becton to be the long term answer. I don't care which side he plays, but I invested a lot of emotion and hope into this guy, and I'm rooting for him to be that guy.
I mean, well,
for
rooted.
really-
But what do we think
for
the
really long
organization
term.
is going to do? Take
well,
our
I mean,
fandom out of it, and
well, I
based
mean, the
on what
guy's
we
o-
hear, and
the
based
guy's
on
only- the guy
them
is
moving
only-
today.
the guy's only had his rookie season, so I have to see one. I have to see another year from him. I want to see.
Okay.
I want to see what he does this year. Like,
And I don't-
Does he improve? Does he grow from where he was as a rookie? Does he improve his pass blocking? Like, does he take coaching well? Is he going to evolve,
Yeah.
or did he shoot his load? You know what I mean? Like, I want to know what he's going to be. If he steps up this year and he's great against the pass, and he's still pancaking people against the run, at his age, I
Yeah.
want him long term. That's what we need as Jet fans. We need to be drafting players that hang around, that we're not
23-year-old
losing them.
using that argument that everybody in the chat is using, like 30 is not that old. Becton is 23 years old. Like, he just
24.
turned 23.
I think they were taking that personally, not in terms of football, but
No. But even for like football,
I think that was more personally like 30's old. What the hell?
for football it is. And hey, I'm closer
Yes,
to 30
yes.
than I am.
I think
I'm
that was
closer
the
to 30
joke
than
that
I
the
am
chat-
to
I
Makai
think Dark
Becton's
Soldier
age.
made that comment. He was like, 30's old. What? I could see like the what the hell?
Like,
And we're
it's-
talking about a franchise. Yeah, we're talking about franchising him. That would be about $16.5 million. So whether it's left tackle or right tackle.
Ooh,
So-
I don't know. I don't know if JFU knows the news. They announced today, JFU. It was announced that Fant is indeed the left tackle. This
Yeah,
is
there's
not.
no competition, man.
There's no competition. They ended it. They just said
Yeah.
Fant was the left tackle.
Biggest
which
competition is
which
the kicker.
sucked. Which sucked for me because like I made a video today, like it was a 20-minute video talking about all this stuff, edited it, uploaded it, all of this stuff, and right as I was about to hit publish and make it go live, I got the notification on my phone, and I spent like the first 10 minutes of that video talking about this competition and why it's a mistake to make Fant the left tackle, and then I'm about to hit publish, look at my phone, the Jets have announced left tackle is George Fant, Makai Becton is playing on the right side. I was like, well,
Send
there
us
goes
the
like
video.
40
Send
minutes.
us the
Yeah,
video
please
on
don't
the
let there
Twitter
be a
feed.
blue check mark.
Send us the video in the Twitter DM, and that way we can at least watch it since you put so much work in on it.
I
Yeah,
want to.
it'll be like the outtake, the Easter egg.
We should point out that Blitz BK is what he's saying in the chat here is there are a lot of linemen as old as 38, 37, 38 that have made the Pro Bowl very recently. So
Whitworth,
they
Williams,
could have very
Dwayne
long
Brown.
careers.
How
Because-
many of those guys who were making Pro Bowls that late peaked 6 or 7 years into their career like Fant is? Fant is now being talked about as a legit starter. There was never a conversation before where he was talked about where where people were legitimately considering him a left tackle over a first round guy who removed Bosa from the game in that San Francisco
I think
game.
that JD went out and signed him with the hopes that he had a feeling about him, that he was going to be very good. I think he saw something in him, and that's why he signed him. People said, "Are you crazy?" When he signed to that contract, people thought he was nuts that we overpaid him. I think JD saw something in him. Well, we certainly didn't overpay him last year. There are plenty of people that would line up and pay him 15 to 18 million for a season like last year. Now, if he gives us another year at that, at the price we got him, that, my friend, is a deal.
Again, it's just one of those, like, again, I don't want this to come off like I don't like George Fant. George Fant did a lot of really, really good things for this team. And I think that he can still be a massively productive player for this team. I just don't look at it and go, him on the left side is the best for this team long term. You know what I mean? We have a quarterback who's got legs and he can move. And I'd rather, like, I don't worry about that right side as much if he's on the right side. Like, I don't look at him on the right side playing with Greg Van Roten as a legitimate thing on his resume for him. Oh, he's much better on the left versus on the right. Like, guys, you could have put me on the right side. It would have looked the same because it doesn't matter because he had no guard help. He was on an
But you don't
island
weigh
by
enough to break
himself.
Becton's kneecap.
Exactly. It's me and
Becton would have been like,
GVR
"Is that a
are-
bug?"
Me and GVR are interchangeable. We accomplish the same thing on the right side. But like that's why to me I look at it and I go, it took him, he's going into his 7th year. It took him 6 years to finally get it right. And now we're talking about extending him. No, of course not. But there's a reason he wasn't starting that entire time.
Oh, but he was a tight end convert, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a tight end. That's exactly right.
It took him a bit. He didn't come into the league as a tackle, and then he went to the sixth offensive lineman on those trick plays, short downs, goal line situations. They would bring him in as a blocking tight end. He didn't come into the league as a tackle. He's worked his ass off to get where he's at.
Not trying to take anything away from him.
Says one thing about him. This is what the organization wants. They want guys who are going to keep grinding, keep improving, keep making their value greater to the team. And I think Fant is the poster child for doing that with a position move. Reminds me of Brandon Moore back in the day. Brandon Moore was a defensive lineman. We moved him over to guard, and then he was like borderline all-pro at guard because he worked his tail off.
I believe in his coaching staff.
And now Lawrence Cage are going to tight end. He's going to be the next Kelsey and Gronk combined in about 2 years.
Well,
I was going to make a video on that for tomorrow. Literally, was going to make a video
Waller
on
action. I'll sign up for it.
Okay.
Really doing a video. Okay.
Side tangent, real quick on Lawrence Cager. Like, okay,
All right.
if Jeremy Ruckert's hurt and he's on the like the unable to perform list, like he's on IR at the beginning of the year. Is there any chance at all of Cager getting that third tight end spot over Wesco?
Or Yeboah. Don't forget Yeboah.
Yeboah's on the practice squad. I
right.
think that's where he lives right now.
I think he's playing special teams. I think he takes Dan Brown's job.
But Lawrence Cager can
on
do that
special
too.
team.
Lawrence Cager put on weight and he can take that Dan Brown role as well.
I don't want Wesco on this roster. I'm done with Wesco. I have turned the page on Wesco.
Yes. I'm so on board with that. I didn't want to be like the hater guy again because I just spent like 10 minutes hating on Fant, but not really. But like, I don't want Wesco on this team. Like, give Lawrence Cager. That's a great story.
There's nothing he does better than anybody else. I mean, with the blocker, we have Bawden as our fullback.
Yes.
But I think it's going to be Bawden, Yeboah, or Cager for one spot. I think you either have that extra tight end or you have the fullback. But I don't think you can.
You have 3 tight ends and then a fullback.
If you could do that, that's great. But that means you got to let one of them go because you have Uzomah, you have Conklin, and you have Ruckert, assuming he can start healthy. Now, if you want to start him injured, then you can keep one of those extra 2 tight ends. And is it Yeboah? Is it Cager? That's what we'll find out.
In my world, right, Ruckert is on the IR at the beginning of the year. So it's for like those first 3 or 4 games. Because ultimately, Cager doesn't end the season on this team. Ultimately, he gets traded. Some team is going to be tight end needy, and they're going to trade for Lawrence Cager. And then we're going to bring in some guy off of the street to be our third tight end right up until Ruckert comes in.
Jack Curry. I know it's Yankee news. I'm sorry. Jack Curry just reports the Yankees are acquiring Benintendi from Kansas City.
Whoa, okay.
Wow. Damn, you lose to the Mets, and then they're like, nope, can't happen again.
You're not scoring against good pitchers. That's more the big picture, right? Like if you're not hitting home runs off people, you're not getting hits with guys in scoring position. I know we don't want to get on a baseball tangent, but I opened Twitter and Jack Curry's thing was the first thing I saw.
Oh, my wife's going to be so happy. Cool.
Yep, I've got 3 minor leaguers heading back to the Royals. So.
Anyway, I think this is an interesting comment. In case you don't know, talking with Tigo, Rivka is a writer for Just X Factor.
Awesome!
Which basically makes her royalty around here. As I am.
Damn, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very big fan.
Nice to meet you.
I have moments when I agree with her, and there are times I'm just like, she drives me nuts. But I do like her, and I respect her knowledge.
But the thing about Just because the thing about Just X Factor though is they're basing things on information, right? They unlike the beat and the media, they're looking at factual things. They're looking at real things. They get real information. They look at tape. They you know what I mean? I think they're just so much more legitimate. Because whether you agree or not, whether they're wrong or right, at least they're not pulling it for clicks. At least they're doing things that come from real information that they have, and they don't lie about it. They don't say this is happening. They'll say it's what they think. They'll say it's their take. So
that's why I read through all of the X Factor stuff versus like the ESPN and the Athletic stuff. Like you just look at the headline, and then you like go to like the second paragraph, and you're done. You got the gist. You don't have to read that whole beginning part. I love the Jets X Factor stuff. And the only other articles that I'll read in their entirety are Boy Greens, just support one of the YouTube guys and all of that stuff. But that's really it.
But if Mike Nania
Yeah,
says this, I believe it, and I was going to try to make the same point before. I mean, that's what I was getting at with Fant. Why it took him so long is he didn't have a big background in football. He was, he played basketball. He then switched positions. It was like he had to learn, and and I mean, maybe he was a late bloomer, but he, what they originally saw in him is he's an excellent athlete. And apparently the coaching he's taken to the coaching, learned the technique, learned the game. And now he's very good, or at least last year he was very good. I don't expect him to come in and not be as good this year. I think he's going to work just as hard and be the same guy. That's just my opinion.
No, yeah, our offensive line is going to, I'll have to eat crow if we extend him. All of my complaints and arguments against him are going under the guise of we're not extending him. Because what I didn't read the whole comment, but the first thing, that first sentence is, I'm not completely sold on Fant. That's the biggest thing. We got 8 games of him really as a really, really high end, 8 to 10 games of him as a really high end left tackle. Because at the beginning of the year, that entire line was atrocious, wasn't doing well. And I get that. But when we saw him play at a really high level was towards the back end of the year, was when that whole team, right before Zach got hurt, you start seeing him really, really do really, really well against some really good edge rushers and towards the back half of that year. And so for me, it's 6 or 7 years of middling tackle kind of talent, right? Because that's how long he's been in the league. And I know his whole story versus 8 games, 10, I'll give him 10 games of elite play. And so for me, that's where it comes in with Fant. Now, if we extend Fant, then all of what I'm saying goes out the window, because then, of course, you can play him at left tackle for the next 3 or 4 years. And of course, you can play Beckman on the right side for the next 3 or 4 years. It makes perfect sense. But to me, I love Max. Put Max on the right side, Beckman on the left side. We'll put Fant on the bench. I don't care.
Well, Max will have time in camp, and we'll get to see him in the preseason, and we'll get to definitely watch the tape. And I think, Tigo, because I love you, I want to spend time with you looking at the tape and analyzing it. I'm totally into it.
We can watch all of the Max Mitchell stuff.
From the preseason. When the preseason starts,
that too.
The game, I want to watch that stuff with you and really talk about it. Look, I hope you're right about it.
I do too. I would suck to put my neck on the line for this guy, and then he's just a whatever guy.
No, but any real Jets fan, whether they agree with you or not, whether they're as high on him as not, every Jet fan should root for every Jets player. So, being he's a 4th round pick and he's that young, of course we're crazy and stupid if we're not rooting for you to be right. The greatest thing that can happen for us, or one of the great things that can happen, is that Max Mitchell is like a stud offensive tackle. And
Jason Fabini 2.0.
Yeah, that would be amazing. So anyway, I want to thank Daniel Faust, who's determined to help cover my $100 Jets to win the Super Bowl bet. He's going to do it slowly through super chatting. Tigo, while you were gone, this happened. I can get these things now. It's kind of nice. Daniel, I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. And how do we get a One Jets Drive reporter pass for Green Bean? Who can hire him as a reporter? I don't know, man. It would be great. I don't know if he can do it because he lives in Virginia. I mean, if he can do it and live in Virginia, he homeschools his kid. I mean, it's complicated, but it's hard to imagine if Green Bean had that opportunity that he wouldn't find a way to pursue it. It would be awesome. I'm sure everybody would love it if he was, but I don't know how we do it. I mean, maybe the interview with Connor is the first step. Maybe you got to get in with people. So who knows?
Well, isn't he part of JetNation.com? They have the website already with guys who write articles. They would just have to apply for a press pass.
But that can't get a
Green Boy got in. Boy Green, I forget.
But I don't think Jets Nation can get a press pass.
If you're a website and you're putting out articles, you can apply for a press pass.
Well, you need to have a certain amount of clicks.
You got to have a certain amount of clicks. You got to have a certain amount of influence.
It's
I don't know. Yeah.
Creme de la creme. Probably took Robbie forever to get in.
Yeah. Adam, let me ask you a question. I saw your comment in the chat, and I didn't know what was in reference to. I've been trying to research it. that somebody you called somebody out for saying the Johnsons are the worst owners in football?
Yeah, Rivka. Sorry, yeah, I'll just say it publicly. She mentioned. I don't remember if it was an article if it was in a chat. I think it was in a chat. She said that the Johnsons were the worst owners in the NFL, and that was like the biggest thing she said that I disagreed with. One up, right up there towards the top. But yeah, then she explained it. So that's what it was about. And
Okay,
I said,
I didn't know if it
Daniel
was a
Snyder.
previous comment.
Yeah, we were just explaining it. So
when you look at the Johnsons, I've said this on here before, in the decade between 2010 and 2019, those 10 seasons, they spent the second most amount of money in free agency. It was $75 million. Only second, ironically, to Daniel Snyder in Washington. So they tried to win. They'll write checks to win. They just hired the wrong football people. And now that we got the right football people here, you see the turning of the tide, right? We're not doing the rich guy at the strip club anymore, throwing out dollars after dollars like senselessly. There's a method to the madness. There's one move leads to the other. It's hands off from the Johnsons, which is fantastic for us as a fan base because we all know we got the right guy in place. But you can't ever knock them for not trying. They've always wanted to win. They've always done the best that they were being told by their football people. Write this check for this guy. Write this check for that guy. They just had bad people giving them advice.
Building the practice facility, overhauling the medical staff, all these types of things. You see how they react in the locker room. I mean, Woody trying to be interactive on Twitter, even though I know when he tries to be cool, it is tremendously and hilariously awkward. But I'll give him points for at least trying. Like just watching him interact with Sauce was just one of the most cringy, hysterical moments I think I've ever watched.
And you could see it in Sauce's face. He's like,
"Did you see him at
Barrios
today?" He goes up to Barrios today. He goes,
"Oh my God,
a lot of trouble with my son." Braxton, what do you mean? What'd I do? He goes, "My 15-year-old son saw your hair, and now he wants to do it." Like it was so.
I'm like, when did the Jets sign Eminem? I didn't even know that was. I didn't know.
Yo, it caught me too. I saw Braxton, and I was like, "Dude, what is it with Braxton ruining his look right before pictures are taken?" Like, do you remember last year's picture with the fake mane? Just looked bad, and then he gets a haircut and he looks like a presentable human being, but it doesn't matter because for the rest of the year we just saw him with the freaking I don't even know, just that horrible haircut. And then it's like, cool, we finally got like good looking Braxton. He's a good looking dude, and then we can put it out there.
He looked good.
Nope,
Yeah,
now he looks like Eminem.
By 22, he looked great when he was signing the contract and whatnot.
Yeah, it looked great.
Yeah,
I would have put a jersey on him right there and taken the headshot, but no, he's got that freaking. Now he looks like Eminem.
Max had a chance to start. No, Jim Pop, we're not saying. I mean, only one of us would ever claim that. 3 out of 4.
I wouldn't even say that.
No, you're not even saying. He doesn't have a chance to start unless someone gets hurt. If we don't sign anybody else,
I think two people need to get hurt.
There's a chance he could move into the next man up role. He could win that in camp for sure. It's
and
not
Nick,
like
you and I. Nick and I agree on this. The goal is by the end of the season, he becomes that swing tackle replacing McDermott or Udoka. That's the best.
I mean, I would hope so. I mean, that would be a very big hope considering we drafted him. I think with that in mind, because we want to upgrade our, the depth on our offensive line. And if he's not as good as those guys, that's not much of an upgrade.
I think we brought him in right now. He's the fourth tackle on the team. And I think the whole concept here is like Udoka's been like kind of put on blast. I think Chuma's been like put on blast. He's like, hey, we've got this kid that we drafted in the 4th round and, we believe in this kid and he might be something in the future. You're the odd man out here because McDermott is our he's our 4th tight end. So we can't get rid of him, right? Because we got to get him more touchdowns at the end of the year, by the end of the year. And then you look at it and you go, Max is here. And I think you look at it and you go, Max is going to be the 4th guy, the 4th tackle on this team. If Max ever sees significant, like actual snaps, like offensive snaps, a lot of things have to go wrong. Becton and Fant both need to go down, kind of a thing. But I do expect that Max is on the team. He's getting dressed and he's playing all of the like special team snaps and stuff like that, just to really get his head in there and run into some other large men.
Jeremy, here's a few bucks for your great work. And Tigo, you're all wrong, fantasist stud.
Look, I never said he wasn't. I just don't think he's as good as Makai.
What's it like living on the island of Tigo? We all want to know.
Look, this is coming
No,
off like I
I-
hate Fant. I don't hate Fant. He's just not as good as Makai Becton.
The three of
Anyway,
us and the
anyway,
chat
Thomas-
going at Tigo is the most quiet he's had in the last like month and a half or two. So he's okay with it right now.
He's gonna
Honestly,
take. He's about to
good
take
with
it.
this.
Yeah, Tigo's about to take another 3 months off.
He's like, bring it.
No, this is better than a baby screaming at me because his bottle is 2 inches from his mouth and he keeps wiggling, so I can't get it in his face.
Anyway, I want to thank you, Thomas. I appreciate the super chat. I really do. And again, I say every time I'll never get completely used to it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you for acknowledging that. You know, it is hard work. All these guys work hard. All, you know, these other guys right here around me. We do work hard. We love it though. So I'm not complaining about it. But I gotta say, as much as I love it, it's definitely 7 months after I started it 7 months ago. I had no idea it was this hard. And Green Bean laughs at me all the time for it.
Yeah.
He's like, "You didn't know, man, did you?" You know. But thank you, I appreciate it. What's Rivka saying now? My beef with the Johnsons is not the money they spend, but who they hire. Just as the president's success is highly dependent on his advisors, the NFL team's success depends on the GM, coach, and scouting. Well, I think they got it right this time.
Yep.
I think they got it right this time, though. Don't you?
And
We
to
all
be
agree
fair,
that the people that they've hired throughout the years have not been the best football people. Tannenbaum was a capologist. Idzik was a bag of shit.
Disaster.
McCagnon was an accountant. Like you're
He
hiring
was a scout.
guys who,
Yeah, McKenna was a scout. Yeah.
a scout. Okay. But you're hiring guys to make football decisions who aren't football guys. And you were going with the guy who may have the best swag in an interview and not the guy who had the best vision for your team. And I think
tell
we can
that
all
turned
agree
around.
now collectively we got the right guy running daily football operations in Joe Douglas. I don't think any of us can be upset with the Joe Douglas hire. And we can't even give the Johnsons credit for that. We got to give Adam Gase credit for that because he pushed very hard for Joe Douglas. I know we hate everything else about Gase, but you have to give the man respect for this, Adam. He was the one that said, this is the guy. I worked with him in Chicago. We got to get this guy in here. And he went balls to the wall for Joe Douglas to get hired as GM.
yeah.
I would
mean,
just
we
like
can
to know
hate
with
him.
Douglas. Yeah, I just
Where is it,
Douglas,
sir?
yeah, just how he really feels about Gase. It's like, man, I thank him so much, but oh my god, I couldn't wait to get him out of there. Just if he was like completely honest, I would love to know what Douglas would say.
That's not
Because
his
Douglas
style,
is never going to give you any juice in a press conference. He is
That's what
very,
I love
very
about
buttoned
him.
up. Right.
You
This
got to
whole
love that
team
about him.
is.
It's
This
buttoned
whole
up
team
tight,
is.
right?
Like,
The
who's
whole
going to give you
regime
the
is buttoned up
juiciest
tight.
interview on this whole roster? I don't even know. I can't even think of who it would be. You know, they train these guys well. You know,
I think we finally have a team. I think the real thing that's happened here is that we finally have a team of professionals. That's honestly what it is,
The culture
right?
shifted.
Because like
Yeah.
honestly, like you go back all of the GMs, or at least in like my lifetime, right? Like it felt like we went from a different, like it was just children, right? Like petty children who were doing things just to be petty, kind of a thing, right? Like it wasn't like they were doing their job. And it feels like for the first time in my life, at least, that we've got an adult running the team, not just from the front office, but also like an adult in the sense of like a coach, right? Because if we go back, like Adam Gase was like, it seemed to me like he was like a control freak, right? Everything had to be his way, and it was every button up thing, and we're gonna have the most advanced playbook and all of the history. And it was just all. It's just like we finally have adults, like people who can disagree and still like go get coffee afterwards. People who ultimately want this team to be the best version that they are. It's like, yeah, we got adults running the team for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
right.
So Dark Soldier, yeah. So look, so obviously Woody's a really good guy. This is a pretty interesting fact and pretty cool that Chad Pennington's father-in-law,
Yeah.
got into the best and paid the medical bills. That's pretty amazing. So, hey, I mean, you know, we give it opinions in the world of sports about people, and some people take it too far, and they they bring it over to the person, and it's like it's two different things. You know, like I like to give a hard time and bust the balls of Jamal Adams, the football player, not the human being. If I bumped into him in a bar, I'd want to ask him questions and hang out with the guy. I wouldn't wish him bad as a human being. I give him a hard time, and he's my enemy as a football player in the world of my sport. Do you know what I mean? There's a difference. So Woody Johnson, I don't know the guy personally. I know nothing about him, but this is the kind of cool thing I love to read about people. You know, I always appreciate people who step in and help people. It's a cool thing. It's a nice thing to know about him.
And there's so much that we never know
Another
because a lot of these guys are always going to keep it quiet, which, to be honest, is the best way to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
you know. So
Another
just-
cool
just-
thing about Woody at the Colts playoff game that we beat them 41-0. He was walking around the parking lot, and he got me a beer out of my cooler that had Britney Spears stickers all over it, and he signed my stomach. And he was like, "Hey, what can I do for you guys today?" I was like, "I've never had a billionaire get me a beer. Can you go in that cooler over there with the Britney Spears stickers and get me a beer?" He's like, "Yep." And he hands me my beer, and I turn to my buddies. I go, "I got a billionaire beer, bitch." Right in front of him, he was laughing. He was a cool dude, man. But he was like a brand new owner, and like he would have laughed along with anything that day to try to get everyone to get to know him and like him. But
Hey, he showed up in London for that London game in a bar with the UK Gang Green UK.
did he buy like round
I
after
thought
round?
Chris did.
I don't
I
know.
thought
He was
Chris did. I thought Chris did that.
But I'm just saying
Chris did.
that's super cool though that he did that. Like he showed up at the bar and hung out with them. Like it's cool stuff.
We've got good owners. They've just like it's hard to like it when you have to like keep making decisions on your coaching staff. Like it's hard to make good decisions on your coaching staff. Good coaches get fired all the time. Good GMs get fired all the time. Like it's one of those things where it's not easy to win a Super Bowl. You know, like that's just the real fact of the matter is you're more likely to choose a bad candidate than a good one. There are way more Adam Gase hires than there are Sean McVays, to just put it into perspective, or Bill Belichick, let's say, is a better example.
I mean,
right?
is Robert? I'm sorry. Is Robert Kraft that great of an owner? If he hadn't hired Bill Belichick, are people thinking of him the way that they do, or is he just a creepy guy trying to get massages?
Can I add up on that? Because I wanted to bring that up with you guys tonight.
Yeah.
How does Robert Kraft, a finalist for the Hall of Fame, when
Thank
there's
you.
character issues for the handy dandies he was participating in, how do you become a finalist for the Hall of Fame now? If we're going to chastise players, if we're going to keep players out, if the media is going to shit on these guys and say, well, there's character issues that we have, so we're not going to put them in the Hall. Yeah, but dude, he's not paying the writers to vote for him. Like,
Is he not?
If we're going to draw a line and say that athletes can't get into the Hall of Fame based on the things that they do off the field, how are you going to put an owner in? And it's first time eligible, you're going to put the owner in? Get the fuck out of here.
And
It would
Reese
be
just
both-
There is the
That never
extenuating
happened.
circumstance, right? There is the extenuating circumstance of the multiple Super Bowl wins as the owner. And like I'm not trying to defend the guy, but it's just one of those things that like when all of the money for this league is driven essentially by the owners, you're going to get a pass. The owners are never going to be held to the same standard as the players or anything like that.
Well, the fact that we're still waiting for Klecko to get in is proof that there's a double standard, right? Because people are saying that I don't know what Klecko did to piss people off, but they said something happened. I don't know the exact story, but the point is how are you telling me Klecko's not in? And now they're talking about Robert Kraft. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know,
it's one of those. It's just one of those things where, yeah, it's like there's also that double standard in the Hall of Fame where it's just like the owners aren't like right. It's supposed to be the stuff on the field, not off the field. Like that's what gets measured for like getting into the Hall of Fame. But then there's players being kept out just because they're assholes and kind of things like that. Where it's just like isn't that? I don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame, but isn't that the Chad Ochocinco thing that he's been like pounding the table for, that he's not in the Hall of Fame because of all of the character stuff? And I was like, might be because you played for the Bengals for so long and you really didn't do much with the Bengals, even though you were one of the best wide receivers in the league. But like,
I feel like it's more of a baseball thing than a football thing with the character, to be honest. I feel like that comes up a lot more with baseball. With football, I can't think of too many guys who were held out because of the type of human being they were. Hey, it's not like they kicked OJ out. You know, that didn't happen.
Yeah, but he was saying before that.
Right. But, with baseball, I mean, you talk about steroids, and we're not going to get political, but there's a reason why they don't put Kurt Schilling in, even though in my mind he absolutely deserves it. The writers are considering other things besides his ability on the field, which alone to me he should absolutely be in the Hall of Fame. That's what I'm talking about, and it's a shame that they're not going to be selling that on the website. They were the coolest stuff. We talked about this during flight. Like the players, the coaches, the GM, they wear these shirts and hats that just look so cool, but they're never available. You never see all gas, no break stuff on the Jets website available for sale. Why is that?
The black hoodie that they had last year? I would have.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Because I have it in green, but I would have done if they said, "Okay, we're going to limited release it. It's 200." I would have paid for it.
That's a promotion at the game.
That good.
That's the kind of stuff they do at their own staff retreats. They make up shirts. Like my school does that. We have these cool staff shirts made up and stuff, and then we get parents and students who want them and say, "Why aren't those for sale?" It's the same thing. They probably internally make them for the staff at meetings and stuff. They give away. You know what I mean? Like companies do that. And it's like we see them wearing it, though, and we want it, too. So they should, though. They should then turn it into shirts that they sell. They're losing money by not doing it.
Well, they also want to push out new material every year because they want the new thing to catch, right? They don't want to have last year's. That's why they put all that stuff on clearance every year because they make enough of that season. They kill that, and now they push out the new thing that they hope gets hot, and everybody goes and rebuys the new thing, right? That's why you get the hat every year. That's why there's always these new releases. They want the new winter hat, the new, the Scully, whatever you want to call it. That comes out every year. The new designs on the sweatshirts. One of the few things that's there year after year is the armed forces stuff, right? And then the crucial catch. Those are the two items that are just constants.
But they're always a new design every year.
Yeah, you're
like
right.
they do it every year. Again, it's a Nike push to. Like we're gonna see what's gonna be the hoodie this year that we're gonna see everybody wear in every press conference known to man. It happens all the time.
I don't know if you guys are caught up with the chat, but now we have OJ going in the chat. Mix PK says OJ had a great cutback. Well, my opinion of OJ, he was never really a downhill runner. He was more of a slasher.
Oh God, we're gonna go there. Mark
Reese, about his running style, Jared. What are you referring to?
He's a great one-cut kind of guy.
He was never convicted. What else would I be talking about besides football?
Mark, at least never. Yeah,
my favorite
never had to
book
go
of
on the shotgun.
My favorite book of all time is his book that he wrote, where it's just basically the cover is "I did it," but in very, very, very tiny letters. Inside of the I is the F, but it just looks like a massive "I did it," and it's just a small F.
Right, because the Goldman family demanded that. They said you could release the book, but here's the way it's going to be. They had say over that, so it's because of them that the little "if" is in "I did," because he wants it. OJ wanted "if I did it." They said no, it's going to be "I did it" for all the world to see. And this little bitty "if" is going to be right there. That was what they did.
Mark Reese is here, which means the green bean thing that I was on before. We did, his Patreon. We were watching an old time Jets game, Green Bay versus the Jets. The game that Chad Pennington won us to and got us to the playoffs. But that means that a lot of those guys are probably have joined us. So welcome, Mark Reese and crew. Good to have you.
Yeah, so Iwan and Mark just pop in. What's up, guys?
Cool. Kelly Wilson, Michael Clemens versus OJ.
Can we one thing we didn't talk about with all the storylines today before you guys get on to the next topic? How freaking cool is it that our second-year quarterback, taking number 2 overall, and our number 4 pick, Sauce this year, were the first 2 guys together out on the practice field, and there's photos of them, and it looks like Zach
Sauce
is
covering
Gardner. Yeah. Like, what do I look for in like a cornerback like setup? Like that would be what I take out of the photos, right? Like I don't have any info on what it was, but I mean, I think that's awesome that our top overall picks the last 2 years, one's a quarterback, one's a corner. These 2 are going to work at making each other better, right? Iron sharpens iron, that old adage. I thought that was the coolest thing today. Granted, with all of the talk about everything else going on with the team, that these 2 guys are going to be the ones to lead us, right? Sauce is going to be the leader on the defense in the next couple of years. Zach's going to be the leader of the offense, and these 2 guys are going to be what takes us to the levels that we all want to get to. And if I could just say real quick while I was watching Green Bean, I loved that show last night. That
Oh, it was great.
so
That was
captivating, brother. That was absolutely fantastic, man. That
During my
was-
baby's first nap today, I watched it again because I missed the first half of it. Like when I had him sleeping, was just listening. It was excellent.
yeah.
hour and a half like that. Of course, that helped that Connor talked a million miles an hour. I would have to slow it down, the playback speed, because I felt like I had to get more of what he was saying. But my good, yeah, that was so good.
That was, I told him last night. It was absolutely fantastic. It was like the YouTube content provider event of the year so far, and I don't think I'm embellishing or exaggerating that at all.
That should have
Having
Patreon
Connor on,
quality.
just to stay topical to what we were just talking about, it was like an OJ interview. Everybody who was interested had to sit down and watch it. Right? The first interview-
Wait, we're comparing Connor Hughes to OJ.
No, but I'm just saying it was like must see TV, right? Like we were just joking about OJ a minute ago. It was must see TV. Like it's gonna be
Because
like,
it could have gone if Green
where
Bean
we're
wanted to. And the other thing too with that is like, because if Green Bean wasn't who he is, right, the kind, compassionate person that he is, that interview could have gone in a completely different direction so quickly. Like it could have really easily turned into ultimately just a screaming match with like insults, be like, and it's just like it's good to know. Like I've always liked Connor. I just never really liked some of his takes that he had, but as a person I always liked the way that he presented things. But it was one of those things where just like you get those two guys who just seem like really kind and compassionate people talking about something that they're both really, really passionate about, in the sense of this has been Connor's career for the last like 8 or 9 years, and Green Bean's been a fan his whole life. They're talking Jets, and so it's like, even though like Connor started it and went at Green Bean for no reason, it was really cool to be able to see them like almost immediately, hey, we're going to bury the hatchet and we're just going to talk Jets for an hour and a half. And it was awesome.
Yeah, and when I think Green Bean, to add to your point, Green Bean's demeanor and delivery being kind of as laid back and chill as it is, I think he had a couple moments where he kind of said, hey, F you, Connor, without doing the Nick Shine, actually saying the words F you, Connor. So if you know Green Bean's feelings and the thoughts of Jet Nation, I thought Green Bean, outstanding job. You delivered the message that a lot of fans. I'm a Connor guy. I like Connor of all the writers. I'm not going to lie. There are times he gets under my skin, but he's gotten under my skin less than anyone else. So I thought last night was it was riveting. It was absolutely awesome. And yeah, man, that was fun. That's going to be like a where were you moment when you watch that. Like people talk about that. Where were you watching the Green Bean Connor interview? Like that was a huge moment.
Yeah.
For, like
That could have been a Patreon thing. I mean, that's the kind of demand it would have had. Oh, by the way, today, look what I got in the mail. I got my Westhoff book.
Nice.
Heyo.
Yeah.
I saw it. Very nice.
So Robert Cohn says, Jeremy, maybe you can give some agents $2,000 bottles of scotch and go. You know, the most expensive bottle of scotch I've ever held, the most expensive bottles I know of and have had access to, are actually my brother's, because he's went to Scotland and actually had them shipped back and brought some back with him. And he went like on a boat where you go to these islands to get them. I mean, from these distilleries that are, hundreds of years old. And I mean, I'm sure there's a society out there that there are such thing as $2,000 bottles of scotch. But for right now, if I sneak into my brother's house, I can lift a $400 bottle of scotch. That's about it. So does a $400 bottle of scotch get me some scoops? I don't know.
I don't know. I know that Johnny Walker Blue is like really, really pricey. I'm not sure how much it goes for, but
It's like $300, $400.
Yeah,
they're not that bad.
My brother's had that one, but he gets, I mean, the ones he gets from Scotland are insane. I mean, they're just like these special reserves, and he likes the smoky ones that are made the old way when they would burn peats to smoke.
Or we just raid the cash bar at the hangar. What are they going to do? Stop us?
That's why they're sending Damian Woody and Tony Richardson to take care of you guys.
Yeah, I think I've got a Glen. I don't remember what it is.
Oh.
It's like a 25-year or something in a decanter downstairs. It was a really, really expensive bottle that I got as a gift. That was pretty cool.
Awesome. Dom, you had to bring up that name,
Mrs.
Dom.
Manish.
Dom, we're trying to move forward as Jets fans in a base, and you got to bring up the M word.
I miss him like I miss Christian Hackenberg, okay?
Hackenberg, I don't know if he's still a coach here, but I think I mentioned this. He was a quarterbacks coach for a high school near me.
Yeah,
Wasn't
I
he
saw
coaching the baseball team too?
I don't know about that. I just saw that article in passing and laughed.
Because he was a pitcher, right? He was a
No,
pitcher.
Rivka,
Also.
yeah, Rivka, Jeremy and I are Mets fans. Nick's the
Yeah,
Yankees
Rip,
fan.
I don't know where. Yeah, I don't know where you get Yankee fan from me. My wife loves the Yankees, so we're a divided house on that too, because she likes the Giants and the Yankees. I like the Jets and the Mets.
Thank you.
What do you mean the Jet? Jam, you called me about the Yankees like 3 weeks
Because
ago.
because I watch the games with my wife. Like
Oh,
root for both
man.
teams.
You
We
can
the Mets
watch-
and the Yankees.
I don't
But
know
I'm
if
not-
Nick knows this,
But I'm a
but
Mets
Nick, did
fan.
you know that you can watch games for teams you don't support?
No, I
What?
support the Yankees second best. I root for the Yankees to win every game.
Yeah, I'm
when
gonna
they
go
don't
turn
play
on.
the
I'm gonna go turn on the Orioles game now. Excuse me. I'll watch the replay.
No, I
Tigo.
honestly,
Here you go.
because of
Put
my-
that scotch away, buddy. You obviously had too much.
because of my wife, like she roots for the Mets and I root for the Yankees for each other because we watch the games together. But when they play each other, we're divided. I mean, I'm a Mets fan. I grew up a Mets fan.
It's,
No,
it's
I'm a Yankee Jet
Rivka.
fan.
Yeah,
And even
Rivka,
though
it's
the
so
Yankees
ridiculous.
lost today, they ended up being the biggest winners because they traded for Benintendi as soon as the game ended.
Look at that. However
Wait,
you choose. Yeah,
Can I say how gangster that is? The Kansas City Royals are coming in for 4 games, and Cashman does the deal tonight before Kansas City comes in tomorrow for 4 games.
and the
That's
prospects
what
you gave up
Snoop
are
Dogg,
like your
sunglasses,
19th and your
cigarette.
that's like your 19th and your 21st prospect is basically what it was. But Rivka, there's actually a video when the Mets were in DC, because as you may know, I live in Virginia, and a bunch of us, the DC Mets fans, we go up there. We're sitting in the left field corner when Pete Alonso hits a grand slam. They put the camera literally on me, and you can see me jumping up and down. I sent the video to Jeremy and to Nick, and Nick's like, "Why the hell is this guy sending me a Mets video?" And Jeremy had to explain to him, "Don't you want to see Adam on TV?"
Oh yeah,
That's
I
pretty
didn't
cool.
even give the video any credit. Like I didn't even hit play. I'm like, what the hell is he saying this for?
Why are
And
we?
then
Why?
I think it was like the next morning. It was look at the video, stupid. He's in it.
It was the coolest thing to see Adam.
Yeah, like I
jumping-
sent you a
jumping
Mets
up and
home run for
down.
no reason.
It was the coolest thing in the world to see Adam jumping up and down like a little boy.
I know. It's like I was on a pogo stick. I was like doing Brian Wilson.
Speed Doctor. I wouldn't be surprised if Speed Doctor was behind in the video, but in the chat, but behind us because he's talking about Fant and everything and all over Tigo. Speed Doctor, as everybody knows, I never miss a new person in the chats. Welcome, and if you haven't subbed up to the channel, you can go ahead and hit that sub button right now, my friend.
Hey, Tigo, maybe you
I-
should try wearing that running suit that guy's got on in the Avatar. You might want to try that on one time.
Not even a
Oh.
little bit.
I'm not going to wear that. I'll tell you.
More
that.
breaking news for the Yankees. Benintendi announces he will get vaccinated, so he doesn't have to miss the Toronto games.
Does he have to shave?
I'm not getting vaccinated in Kansas City. Oh, I'm playing for the Yankees.
Yeah. Does he have to shave? Does he have a beard that he has to
Probably.
say bye bye to?
Oh, that's given. That's going to be
Okay.
interesting if they get Castillo from the Reds because he's got the long dreads.
He's
been
got that going.
years.
Oh
Look,
yeah.
they-
Wait, the Yankees have that rule?
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
internally?
yeah, the Yankees
Steinbrenner
have
Matt-
bought them in 72.
Well, Matt Carpenter's got his porn stash on. It's the stash that looks like he glued it on, that kind of a thing.
I
But
remember when
somehow they let him get away with that.
I got
forget
some
who it
news
is.
for you, Nick. The reason they went out and got Benintendi is because they know they're not going to sign Judge. The Mets are.
Yes. Oh yes, please.
Mic
Into my
drop.
veins. Right into my veins.
Guy wants to get picked up from the airport and he's running his mouth like this. Very, very ballsy, Jared.
Brandon Nimmo, I
Very
love.
ballsy.
If the Mets re-sign Nimmo, I will buy the jersey. But if I have to lose him to get Aaron Judge, all right, you twisted my arm. All right.
No,
I get it.
My wife has really converted me to like the Yankees number 2. Like when we're watching and they blow a lead or something, I'm pissed. I'm cursing. When they do something good, I'm texting Nick. Like I'm into it for them.
That's what made me think you're a Yankee fan. Like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
this
No,
is-
I'm into them and wanting them to win, but not over the Mets. You know what I mean?
the only way I could think less of you is if you were upset with Fant being left tackle, with like Tigo was earlier.
I'm not
It's
upset
really-
with it. He earned the spot. It just doesn't make sense long term.
Jeremy, do you have one of those jerseys? Mets, Yankees, you got like one of those half and half jobs going on.
No, I just have the banner for the Jets Giants. But look, when we lived on the Upper West Side, it was really easy to get to the stadium. You know what I mean? Like we literally lived 2 blocks from where we could jump onto the B train. So it was like so easy. We were at the Yankee Stadium like in less than 20 minutes. It was just a quick shot right up to the stadium, and you know we would go onto StubHub. This was in 2014, 2015. We'd go onto StubHub and get bleacher seats. We'd go into the bleachers, and for like $10 a pop, 3 hours before the game, we'd buy the tickets. We'd get onto the train, go to the stadium, sit in the bleachers. My wife loved Nick Swisher. So he'd come out and do the salute, and she'd go crazy, and she loved doing roll call. She got really into it, and it was fun. I had a great time going to those games. So
I remember
anyway,
that as a kid.
I got to see this documentary on Jeter. But anyway, let's go to Buffalo Jet fan is in here.
What's up?
The 4 of you on a weekday. I know. No one's eating any peppermint patties or anything like that. Don't worry.
Now that I'm back, I gotta talk to Buffalo again, man. I gotta catch up with everybody.
Yeah.
Like I literally, because when I went away, like I literally put my phone away, put my computer away. Like I didn't look at anything. I tried to really get away to just be with the kid and my wife and stuff like that. And it's just like coming back. It's just like Jeremy's over 1,000. Like it's just all this stuff. Adam's like got a channel now, like actually, and it's just like
actually,
because before I left is when you just started it, but like now you're legitimately uploading things. I'm excited, man. It's cool to be back and just be like, hey, pick up right where I left off, kind of thing. But yeah,
I got Jets X Factor people hanging out now. Things have changed.
I know. 2 months, almost 2 months, but 2 months. It's a long time.
I'm actually bringing
this
Joe
is during
Blewett.
dead season, yeah.
I'm bringing Joe Blewett hot sauce for the tailgate party. So and he was nervous because he said, I'm not a guy who's going to say no. If you show up with hot sauce, I'm going to eat it because I'm into it. He goes, but I don't want you to, because he's afraid I was going to bring something with Reaper sauce or something, and he didn't want to have to go to the bathroom and blow up, at a stadium. So I was like telling him, no, I'm going to bring like a medium sauce that tastes good, dude. It's like everybody thinks I'm into these super hot sauces. I'm not. That's just for like challenge.
For the lulz, yeah.
I don't enjoy that. I like medium hot sauces. But anyway, that tailgate party for the opener. Nick, you can try it too. I'll have a bottle of like one of my favorite hot sauces.
I'm good. The Jets give me heartburn on Sundays. I don't need anything else, brother.
Jeremy's my new vice principal. We need a teacher, and Mark. We need a 4-5 teacher, a 4th, 5th grade teacher. And Mark Reese is like, I'm going to steal your neighbor, Nick. I'm bringing this kid to Sacramento.
All right.
And he would love, and he would love working for me. He would love working for me.
Usually that's like 500-pound women who get
it's funny. My wife was talking about ordering pizza, and then she went, she just disappeared. Like she ghosted me. Like she might be downstairs eating pizza and I didn't get any. I don't know what's going on here. It's like she said we're going to order pizza. I'm like,
yeah, Tigo, I know I didn't text you, but you guys did see the thing I texted you a little bit earlier tonight. You didn't see this?
On what?
Okay. The picture of where I went for dinner after work for the show.
Oh, the prime rib.
Oh yeah. So we got a bistro.
Oh yeah.
In Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Wednesday nights they do 12 or 16 ounce prime rib. It's like either $20 or $25, depending on what size you want. They throw in the jus, the horseradish, the mashed potatoes, and so I get there because they're only open 5 to 9, and I work till 8. And my birthday, if you don't know, it's coming up this weekend, as a matter of fact. So I get there at 8:15. I'm thinking, you know what? I'm gonna go have some prime rib tonight before the show. Let's go do this. So I get there at 8:15, and Cameron, the bartender, she tells me, all right, here's the thing. We got one piece left. It's medium rare to medium, and it's the end cut. Is that piece okay for you? Let me think that one over. Bring it right now. Right now. Don't let anybody else near my end piece. I want my end piece right freaking now.
That's part for me.
Yeah, that's where that extra seasoning is. So, yeah, that a glass of Malbec, and I was a happy guy. Fantastic.
Wow.
This is good. I read this. You got to put this and then go down a couple spots, and it gives you the answer too.
Okay. When it,
When does a joke
oh,
become a bad joke?
that is good. That is good.
Oh, I didn't see it. What? Oh.
That is like the most
When it
obvious
becomes
joke.
apparent.
Yeah.
When it becomes-
It's the most obvious joke of all time, but it's hysterical.
That's a dead.
Layup.
Oh boy.
Do you
What else are we excited about?
Well, okay, so Mims had 4 catches. 2 of them were supposedly spectacular.
Yeah.
So Mims looked really good. That's interesting.
When does he go to Chicago?
Zach looked really good.
Just as long as we keep fans.
And I think the thing they really liked about Zach is that he wasn't throwing the ball to the same receiver every time like last year. He was dishing it around. It was being spread everywhere. He was hitting Conklin. He was hitting CJ. He was hitting Garrett Wilson got one. Elijah got one. This is all in like the 11-on-11s or whatever. So it was, they said it looked, he looked relaxed. He was looking at different places. He didn't look confused, and he wasn't relying on the same target every time. So this is what we want to hear. We want a quarterback who could, it means he's going through progressions and he's looking at all his receivers and all his options. And when you have as many weapons as we do, you want a quarterback that is going to be able to utilize it. Right?
Yeah.
It's you can tell that he's 100% more confident in the offense. Like, he knows where to look more, and he's not doing like what he kind of did in college was that, like, he knew he had the arm to fit it into those college windows where he could kind of just stare a guy down, and he doesn't do that anymore because he doesn't have to.
Yeah. I agree.
I'm sad that I've turned on my Denzel Mims take a little bit, and it ultimately came after what Connor said last night in the Green Bean video. So, which was, it doesn't make sense. Not that the Jets don't keep Mims, right? Because you always want good players on your team, always. And if Mims is your 5th wide receiver and he's really turned into that stud that got me 20,000 views on a video, right? And the guy that I truly believe in to be a good wide receiver for this team, the real question is, are you really going to keep a 2nd-round wide receiver, a guy that you took so high, as your 5th guy, getting those 5 to, if he's lucky, 10 snaps a game, versus possibly letting Joe Douglas swindle another team and getting a good draft pick back? It's the same kind of conversation that I had, or I was thinking about having in that video that I didn't upload because we assigned the tackle spots, which is with Bryce Hall, which is just like, he has value and he has worth. Somebody's going to want to trade for a Bryce Hall because he's a high-end number 2 corner, right? And if Eccles is that dude and he can be that 4th wide receiver, which is not wide receiver, corner, which is kind of where Bryce Hall is right now, because I think Michael Carter, the 2nd, is listed as the 3rd corner because of the slot, basically just orientation. Are you really going to turn down a 3rd, like a 2nd or a 3rd for Bryce, who's your backup to your backup kind of a thing? I don't know. It's sad that I've kind of come to that conclusion or had that realization, because you want good guys on your teams, but you kind of have to replace these guys eventually, and draft picks are always nice to have. I like having multiple draft picks in each round. I don't like that we only have 1 first-round pick this year. It hurts me.
I mean, a quarter of the league didn't have a first-round pick this past draft. So then again, most of those teams were good. I'm sorry, Jeremy. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. He actually had 3 drop passes, Sluggo. One of them that wasn't his fault was when Conklin dropped it. The other 2 were not considered to be the receiver's fault. And one of the things that helped, and I like this, I'm not saying this to be critical of Zach. I like this. This is what I want to see. This is what Zach needs, is 2 of the passes that were completed were with help from his receiver. It was the opposite of drop passes. It was Mims who made 2 plays, one of them supposedly spectacular. So
yeah, he ripped the ball out of the corner's hands, but that was Mike White throwing it, wasn't it?
I think one of them was. Yeah, I know at least one of them was. Here's Michael. Who was the cornerback that Mims took it away from? That's the first thing I want to know.
Oh, he's one of the tryout guys.
Gardner. Better not have been Gardner.
No,
Oh,
no,
God,
it was
no.
one of the tryout guys. It was like a Jackson, or it was something with a J.
All right. Because they wouldn't mention, because every time you see like a big play and this guy made a great play, I'm like, okay, who did he do it against? And then it's like, okay, how happy am I and how worried am I?
Like if
every
you're
big play is
mossing,
with a grain of salt.
like if you're mossing Justin Hardy, like come on, that's not that big a deal.
That's
Sorry,
true.
I got the
Yeah,
boy
and
here
now
with
that we've released Craig James, and maybe that makes Justin Hardy's job a little bit more secure. Speaking of depth corner.
They did already?
Oh yeah, James is already gone. Yeah, thank you for
Didn't
your
sign him Sunday?
thank you for your 2 days of service, Craig. Bye. He's
And
gone.
Rivka, if you ever do get that job for the New York Jets, we want scoops. You better remember the small people.
Yeah, do you prefer scotch? What's your beverage of choice, Rivka?
I'll send it. I got no.
After he reaches his
Send it
back
immediately.
pocket, pulled out
I
a
will
gift.
say, here's something.
And
else
also,
that-
Rivka, just to
Right.
answer your thing about why not trade Hall until after the season, because his value is not as high after the season. His value isn't going to be as high as it is right now, coming off of a year of relatively good tape as a starting corner. Next year, when he hopefully, because we don't get any injuries, knock on all the wood, if he doesn't get hurt and nobody gets hurt on in the defensive back room and he doesn't play, now you're talking about a backup. So the value just isn't there. If Bryce isn't in the plans of the future, unfortunately, now would be the best time to trade him away. Unfortunately,
I hate the idea of trading him. I hate it.
I do
hate
too, but it
hate
just makes too much
Oh.
sense, man. I don't want to trade him. It's
We
like the
trade
thing
him,
with
somebody
Mims.
will get hurt. Somebody will get hurt as soon as we trade him. That's how this goes. When you
The
have
question
depth, you keep
becomes
it.
Brandon Eccles, because Brandon Eccles was solid.
I,
That's the thing. Do you
I'm all
keep
over
Brandon
Eccles.
Eccles?
I'm not giving up my hall monitor. Can't do it. I just can't do
If
that.
someone gives you a third for him, you're not gonna to get rid of your backup, even though you've got someone who you this is depending
you
on your
turn-
evaluation on Brandon Eccles, right? 'Cause
Turning the
the
5
big-
into a 3 is pretty good. If they
That's
can do
my
that.
thing,
Considering
How
man.
high
we
of a
have
third is
zero
it?
interest in him
There'd be a high
starting.
third.
Exactly, Nick. We have zero interest in him starting this year at
If you
all.
can get a 3, you do that immediately. There's no
If-
debate.
Like, who's a cornerback needy team? Who doesn't have any corners? Who could take a Bryce and has a third that they're willing to spare?
I want
know
to
what I
say
mean?
the Ravens.
If
just 'cause
Houston
Aaron
calls
Butler's
you-
here talking trash, and
I'd
Aaron
trade
Butler popped in
Eccles.
my show yesterday, and he's a Ravens fan.
Like, if
I-
Houston calls you and says, "We'll give you a third,"
They have Stingley, but I get it.
yeah, but Hall's there to play on the other side, not to play with as a number one, because Hall, I don't.
Okay, because you asked. Okay, you said
You
you
know
didn't
what I
have
mean?
any corners, so they do have Stingley. At least, but I get it.
Stingley has a massive question mark on him. He's a rookie. Every rookie has a massive question mark on him. So technically, they have no corners. We don't know what Stingley's going to be. Look at Okuda, right? He was number 3rd overall pick, kind of a thing.
Oh,
So it's one of
Lions,
those
yeah,
things.
Lions are a great example. Lions are a good example.
So it's one of those things where, like, if Houston calls and says, "Hey, we want to put like a guy who has experience, has done pretty well, and has started on a bad team for a long time on the Jets," right? Because he's been with the Jets for like 3 years now, I think, right? Was this his 3rd year or his
Big
2nd
break.
year?
2. That was
Big
his
break.
second year. This is year
So
3.
this is his 3rd year. You know,
Yes.
it's one of those things. Like, I don't want to get rid of the guy, but it's like, if you're giving me a third for him,
Okay, if Houston's giving me the third, that's fine because I know it's going to be in the top 5 third round. I feel like in the third round, it's a little bit more of a difference, the top versus the bottom.
Oh, hell
because I think
yeah.
Once you get to that middle
yeah.
part, it changes. You know, a third round from Kansas City is not a third round from Houston. We got to remember that.
I would take the third, even if it was from Kansas City.
I mean, the beginning is
Like
you're
the
talking-
Cards,
the
if the
beginning of
Cardinals
the
give
third
me a
round,
call,
you're talking about picks 65 to 73, 74 in the beginning of the third round.
Because you got
But
the
then
comp
you can
picks.
go all the way back to like 90 to 100 for the end.
I'm not talking about a
Drastic.
comp pick. I'm not talking about a comp pick again, because we don't have the comp picks yet, kind of a situation. My thing is like, if you're trading, again, I would look at it and I go, for a backup, a guy that we have zero interest in having him start, it's an interesting thought, right? I don't want to trade him away. Depth is good to have. But
he still stands to get a bunch of snaps. It's not like we don't switch to it. It's like we play a 4-2-5 a lot.
yeah, but
I
he's
can't
not the
wait.
third. He's not the third corner.
Well,
Michael
for
You
Carter
don't,
is
want
an
him,
outside
you don't want him playing slot. He's too
Yeah,
big.
no.
and,
He's
and-
too big and he's not quick enough.
right. No, I'm not saying
I mean,
that.
you're going to move Reed inside, and you put Hall and Gardner on the outside.
No,
or
There's no way
Gardner and
you
Reed
can't
on the
move Reed.
inside?
No,
You can't
Carter the
move Reed
second will
inside.
be in there, but
I'm throwing
I'm
out
just saying-
ideas because you're
I'm
not
just
gonna
saying
put
there was a
6-2
lot of
all
there,
there.
there was a lot of times that different guys were coming onto the field. You know, you give a breather, this and that. Like when they're lining up 4 wide receivers, like you don't know what's going to happen. Like in 2-minute
Yeah,
drill,
but a safety comes
and-
down.
yeah.
That's what that's why we have Whitehead, right? Like that's the whole
Yeah.
idea for
I just
for
think we're
Whitehead.
I think we're gonna still see Hall on that field a lot.
I just
rotating.
don't see where his snaps come in. You
Mm.
go
He
and
had-
you sign a
he
number
played
1
more-
corner and then draft a number 1 corner with your
He
first
played
pick.
more snaps than any defensive player on this team. I know it was last year, but nobody played a higher percentage of snaps on defense last year for this team than Bryce Hall. And now he's
Yeah.
going to the bench. I can't. It is just crazy to imagine they would
But,
do this.
but I agree
But I
with
get it.
that.
I get it with Reed and Gardner. I get what they have.
We've
but this
gotten
is an
so
asset.
much better. Like that's the thing. Very rarely does, especially for the Jets, have we ever taken in the offseason a leap this big in the sense of it's like hands down. We haven't seen a single snap out of Gardner or Reed in Gotham Green, but there's still better options at corner than Hall is. It sucks because I love Hall and he did so much for this team, but like I just don't know, man. It's the same kind of thing that I have with Mims. I don't want Mims to go anywhere. I just don't see how you don't trade Mims away.
Yeah. Aaron Butler, just so you know, we do it. We will be breaking down the game. We always do. You haven't may not have seen us in season, but after every Jets game, win or lose, we break down the game. We talk about what went right, what went wrong, what we want to improve. We talk about the other team and what they did well. We use it as an excuse sometimes. Well, you can't expect to stop that guy. He's an all, they have like we would say if we lose. Well, I mean, it doesn't mean we're never going to stop the run if you don't stop the Ravens run, because the Ravens are one of the better running teams in the NFL. So we have all those conversations, and we will have those conversations. Green Bean does it. I know Frankie from Flatbush does it, and we're definitely going to do it. And one of the places we're going to do it, if you want to see us before we've even had time to lick our wounds if we lose that game, is, well, not that game, but like from weeks 2 to 17, we're actually going to be on the Buffalo Jets fan.
And weeks 2, 3, and 4, Aaron, let's be honest, you're going to be rooting for the Jets.
We're going to be we're going to be reacting to those games. But I promise you, the Wednesday night after the opener, I'll be back in Sacramento, and I will be here, and we will be talking about the game and breaking it down, and we will be talking about the trip, and I'll be talking about how it was, and we'll be also doing a preview for the Cincinnati game. So yes, it's going to happen. I saw you asking a few times other people too if they're going to do it. I promise you come here Wednesday after the game, and we will have that discussion.
Can I give you some breaking news from yesterday? I did a live show. Adam popped on with me.
What are the Yankees doing now?
No. It's we were discussing George Fant showing up with no shirt, and Vino was in my chat, and Vino made me make a promise that
Clemens,
when the Jets. Who did I say?
Fant. You said Fant.
Fant. I'm sorry. I remember Fant had the workout a couple weeks ago. My bad. Clemens showed up with no shirt on, and sorry, I'm getting all these guys with shirtless confused in my brain. Forgive me. That's what she said. So Vino said, if the Jets beat the Ravens, will you do a show with no shirt on? I go, absolutely. Guarantee you, I will do it. So the workout has begun. I mean, it might be like this the entire time.
Yeah, the workout is in singular, as in one.
Hey, man, I walked 2 miles today with the boy. Which is good for me in this heat.
Also, Mark, my thing, so because he mentioned it, is like DJ Reed is CB1, Sauce is CB2, MC2 on the slot, and then Bryce Hall versus a tight end. Then what is Whitehead doing? Why did we go out and cite Whitehead to do? If Bryce Hall is going to cover the tight end, what is Whitehead going to do? Play the single high?
He'll come off the field on some long passing downs. He's your run.
Whitehead is almost like your next linebacker. Whitehead is like your linebacker safety hybrid.
But then where's the other safety? You have two safeties.
Playing center field.
Okay, but then who are you taking off? In that situation, you've already taken a linebacker off of the field because you have 3 corners and 2 safeties. There's 5 defensive backs. So that leaves you with 2 linebackers. In your situation and what you're talking about, are you taking another? So you're playing a 6-1-4 in that scenario? You're taking out another linebacker to have Bryce Hall cover a tight end?
If they're
So that-
4 or 5 wide receivers wide, yeah, you're not going to have 2 safeties out there. You're going to need more coverage guys.
No, you bring a safety down, and then a
Why can't-
linebacker
why-
covers the tight end.
Yeah, I wouldn't want Whitehead out there covering a lot. To be
Whitehead does great in coverage. He just wasn't
He's-
asked to do it. He wasn't asked to do it in Tampa Bay, but he has it on his resume. I think he's a much better coverage guy than people expect.
But he's best at being a box safety. He's like third-rated box safety ahead of Adams in the league. So you use him
Not
where he's at.
disagreeing with that,
Right.
but I don't want to, no pun intended, put him in the box of just being a box safety because I do like his coverage skills. The real question would be he's short versus a tight end kind of a thing. But I'm just like, that's my thing is like schematically what you're saying doesn't really compute in a perspective of like when you call a formation. Like when you call a formation ahead of time or whatever, you don't really that call to bring in Bryce Hall. Like again, it's just I love Bryce Hall. I just don't know where he plays. Honestly,
Maybe they
just
use different guys in
objectively.
different spots, because we rotate. By the way, whenever Jeremy puts his still photo up, I wonder how it's the same person. But you wonder why they rotate this defensive line as much as they do. But it seems as though we're acting as though they're not good. This is their secondary, and this is how it's going to stay.
But it's because your argument that you
depending
made
on who they're playing against,
But I think it's the argument that you made about Bryce Hall last year. Took the most snaps out of everybody. Bryce Hall was a constant. Bryce Hall almost never came off the field because they
lack
don't
of
take
options, though.
Not just because of lack of options, but it's just like he just never came off the field. Like you could give him a playoff if you really wanted to have a rotation. They took Quinnen off the field. They took JSM off the field, and
But
those
the
guys.
D-line, they
those guys-
rotate. The D-line rotates nonstop in this game.
I agree.
Nobody plays more than 60% of the snaps on the D-line.
We've had this
He was
conversation.
not a
I
number
know that.
one cornerback. He was our number one cornerback. There's a huge difference.
And how many number one
There it
quarterbacks
is.
are there? Okay, now we're good.
Now the
And
show
how many-
starts.
Don't worry,
Show
Jeremy, we got you
starts,
covered.
Jeremy goes chompa chompa.
Nice slice, man.
It's
Just the
just
right amount
it's
of folding.
it's just like
Yep.
I was saying. It's just like I just don't know where he plays.
Mark, what did you miss? We got on a roll. Just like butter. Yes, Aaron. Yes, we do know the Ravens play the AFC East weeks 1 through 4. So good luck in weeks 2
Really?
through
So
4.
that's never happened before that we can recall. And the Ravens are playing our whole division gauntlet, and we're playing their whole division gauntlet.
That's right.
Is it really a gauntlet?
I don't follow the Ravens schedule except for week 1.
I know that we're talking about our first couple of weeks as a gauntlet, but are we overestimating some of these teams in that division?
I think some
I'm
people
just saying
are.
gauntlet, and we're running the division.
No, I understand. No. But what I'm saying is a lot of people are looking at our first 5 weeks, right? Because what week 5 is
Miami.
then it's week 6 is Denver. What's week 6? Is it Denver or is it Green Bay?
I thought New England.
It's Green Bay, then Denver. I can tell
Then
then
Denver,
then
okay.
Buffalo. Miami
Whatever.
is week 5 at home.
Okay, so like let's say the first 4 weeks, because I think we're not gonna have that conversation, right? But like the first 4 weeks, right? The Ravens are gonna have what, an entirely new defense, the same offense that the league has kind of figured out, and less offensive weapons. They're not gonna have their number one running back. They traded away their number one wide receiver. And Lamar still isn't signed. So if that continues to go on into the year, I'm not that scared of the Ravens, ultimately, personally. I'm not scared of Jacoby Brissett. That's just the reality of it. No matter what happens, he's gonna get Watson's gonna get suspended. Not scared of Jacoby Brissett.
Are you
And I'm
concerned
not
about
scared
their
of,
run game? Are you
of
concerned about
Rosen.
Chubb and Hunt? Are you concerned about Chubb and Hunt, that running game against this run defense?
Hey, I'm on board. I get it, but we got a much better offensive line. We have a much better run game. We have a much better it's our offense versus their offense, in my opinion, because I think we're just going to be running through each other's defenses ultimately. And I just have more faith in our offense being better than Cleveland being ran by Jacoby Brissett.
Well,
Even if you run-
Aaron Butler agrees with you that the Baltimore defense is exactly the same, and there's been no change.
So it's like,
scheme-wise or personnel-wise?
Well, they lost Martindale.
They added Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamilton at safeties. I think that's a pretty big.
Drafted
If
Travis
you're talking scheme hasn't
Travis
changed-
Jones.
If you're
know.
talking
Travis
the
Jones.
scheme hasn't changed from the coordinator leaving, I understand.
That makes sense.
But I think the talent has gotten a little better on that D. That D was down for a little bit. I think it's starting to come back up.
A bit better.
Slightly marginal. No, it's a better defense, but it's still like I'm not worried about that offense. That's the thing. Against the Ravens, I'm not worried
As
about
long
the
as you don't
Ravens
let
offense.
Lamar run for 150,
My
they're
concern
beatable.
is, this game could come down to
Is
field
whether or
goals.
not we can put up points.
Yeah, will this game come down to field goals? And if so, who has the ball? It could come down to who has the ball last. This game could really just come down to that. I really believe so.
Because I'm not worried about the Ravens offense. They lost Dobbins, and there's a good to fair chance that he's not playing week 1.
Right.
Like, it's just one of those things where I look at it and I go, there's that. Week 2, I'm not scared of Jacoby Brissett. Week 3 is it the Bengals or is it the Steelers? It's the Bengals, right?
Bengals.
Right?
Yeah.
The Bengals should be a better team than we are, right? But historically speaking, we play the Bengals so well, like when we shouldn't play them this good. And we play them so well. We beat them with Mike White last year. So
Thank you.
like,
That's the
come
thing.
on.
It's
He's
a
a-
revenge game. They're not going to overlook us, but they haven't seen Zach Wilson yet. There is something to be said for that.
Mike White is in the Hall of Fame because he beat the brakes off the Bengals. Like, he put up 400 yards on the Bengals. And this is a Bengals team that might not have Jesse Bates.
The master of safeties. Thank
It's
you.
one of those things where it's just like, and then Kenny Pickett, give me Kenny Pickett all day. I have no faith in Kenny.
And give me Corey Davis on the slot. I agree with Buffalo and I are
I
beating
love a
this
big
drum
slot.
like nobody's business. I want Corey Davis in the slot. Not
I've
every
been
down,
saying that.
but it will work, guys. It will work.
The only guys I want to see playing in the slot are Garrett Wilson and Corey Davis.
And the
That's it.
Baltimore Ravens don't have a wide receiver that's going to go over 40 yards that game 1. They don't have the talent at wide receiver to go up against our secondary.
No, they don't.
Kenny Pickett ain't starting that game, Mark. That's Trubisky's team.
I agree as well. I think so too. Barring injury, it's going to be Trubisky. Mitch the bitch. Ooh, okay. Iowa coming in hot with that language.
You think Mitch is going to start over Kenny?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I don't
Start
think
season?
so. I don't think so. I
Mitch
think they start
Trubisky is
Kenny.
very underrated.
Yeah,
He took
he's
Matt
back on
Nagy's
the-
offense to the playoffs.
I like
twice.
Mitch. But this is Pittsburgh we're talking about. You
I
know
love
what
it when T goes on the island.
Who do I send
No,
a
no,
bottle of
I
scotch
was
to
talking
finish the
about
point
Mitch.
tonight? Who do I
Dude,
send a
when I-
bottle
when-
of scotch to finish the point without getting talked all over? Tell me.
When they signed Mitch, I was like, that's perfect. Now they don't have to draft a quarterback in the first round. They should draft a quarterback next year. This is a good idea. And then they went and got Kenny at 20. I don't know, man. I just don't see how you get Kenny at 20 and you don't start him, especially by week 4. If they're 0-3 going into that week 4, Mitch is still starting.
Because this entire draft class was viewed as projects.
Agree.
Nobody in this draft class was
But-
projected to be a day 1 start. And even though Pittsburgh's going to run the ball with Harris, and just like if Watson's out in Cleveland, it's going to be Nick Chubb's team. Excuse me.
But
It's going to be
let's
Najee
go.
Harris's offense.
But let's go through the
regardless of who
Steelers.
the quarterback is.
But let's go through the Steelers' first 3 games before they play the Jets, right? They open the year in Cincinnati against the Bengals. That's a loss. So they're 0-1. Then the Patriots come to play Pittsburgh in whatever the new stadium is called, because it's not Heinz Field anymore.
In Pittsburgh. Yeah.
In
Akron,
Pittsburgh. That's a
It should have been
toss-up.
It should have been like Permanente Brothers Stadium. I could have got behind that.
I don't think so. New England's the last place team. New England's not going on the road with Mac Jones and beating that Pittsburgh defense. They got worse weapons than Baltimore does.
Okay, I can get behind that. So now they're 1-1. Does that Steelers team beat the Browns
I don't
There's
think
no
so.
Watson. It could be a game.
in
Yeah. If there's no
in
Watson,
Cleveland?
yes. If that's Jacoby Brissett, they can beat
But
them.
they still have
Will
Trubisky.
they? I don't know what they're capable of. I can't say.
I
that
think
it's-
I think Cleveland's a much more well-rounded team than Pittsburgh is. You got to look at the whole thing.
Again, there's a whole lot of things can go on. They could very easily go into against us 2-1 just as easily as they can go against us 0-3. It's one of those things where I don't know. I think it's Kenny. I think you're gonna go with the unproven thing, and I think Mitch is gonna ultimately be relegated to the backup role. Not because I think anything other than I don't think you draft a kid at 20 if you're Pittsburgh when you have that many holes and then you just don't start him. I don't see how that fan base lets that happen. They're going to be screaming from the mountaintops to start Kenny, especially because he's
Modine Joe Beningo.
No, I think he's Joey and Clark on WFN, who calls him as the most miserable human being on earth. No, Mo makes Joe look positive. Okay, no, at least Joe will have hope going into a season. Mo is just, oh my god,
Ryan.
Yeah.
Why can't the Jets beat Pittsburgh? Somebody tell me why the Jets cannot.
You have to understand that one thing about Modine before you get on him too much, okay? Modine, in the last year of my life being on YouTube and knowing him and seeing his comments from Frankie's show, whatever, has been more accurate than any chat member I know.
Things have been bad.
Nobody
Of course
has
it's
been more
gonna be.
accurate than him. He's predicted everything right so far. So we're still waiting to prove him wrong. I just have to say it, to be honest.
What has he
nobody's
predicted?
more-
I know he hates that. I know he hates Zach Wilson. I mean that's been well documented. I mean, did he predict Becton would show up in shape? Did he predict Becton would be a right tackle? What has he predicted? I don't know.
I think a lot of people are really down on this team where I just think people are really down on this team like the Jets, and I just think it's unwarranted. And I think people are really like living off of the hype of that MVP Lamar year, like 3 years later. Like, it's one of those things that team has not gotten better around him. If anything, that team has gotten worse around him. And he hasn't been really able to carry that team. It's one of those things where it's like, I'm not that scared of the Ravens. I'm not scared of the Browns with a Jacoby Brissett leading them. Now, if we were facing the Browns week 12, week 13, and we're looking at the possibility of an 8-game suspension, that's a different conversation. But I'm not worried about the Browns. The Bengals are that's probably a game that we should lose. But again, historically, we play the Bengals out of this world good. And I have no fear of the Steelers.
Would you consider Lamar Jackson? Are you even sure? Like, how confident are you that Lamar Jackson is going to be a top 12 quarterback in the NFL this year?
In terms of what?
I don't think so.
By what standard? Winning, yardage,
QBR, passer rating.
The eye test.
Overall quarterback, however you rate your quarterback.
Like the eye test
quarterback
overall?
rating,
I guess the eye test.
everything overall. Quarterback rating / wins / does he come
I'm
through
not.
everything? Every
I-
way, judge a quarterback.
I think he's right around 12. I think 12 is a decent spot, but if I had to say yes or no, I'm saying no.
There's about 11 guys that you'll think are better, like Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers, right? You're going to be able to name 11 quarterbacks that you would pick over him
I can name
if
more.
you were a team right now for this season.
Yeah.
Josh
And
Allen.
it's not
like,
necessarily about him.
Herbert
It's about
back.
the team around him. Like, it's the team around him. They're not like their running game is going to be sus without Dobbins. They're running a whole new fleet of wide receivers because they traded away Hollywood Brown. Like,
So they have Gus Edwards. They have who else? Tyler Beatty. I think they got Mike Davis. Well, Dobbins is hurt. But
Dobbins
Mike
is hurt.
Davis.
He's not playing week 1.
most likely.
Dobbins shit on that report that Rappaport
Rappaport.
or whoever was it Rappaport
It was
or was the other
Rappaport.
one?
It was Rappaport.
Okay. And he shit on it. And like, I don't know how you're saying that. That hasn't been ruled out. I don't know how that's a BS report. And he called shenanigans that day on it.
But he's
Yeah,
on
but
the
are you
list.
really going to listen to the player calling shenanigans on it? Like he's going to the play. It's not
I think
his
a guy who's
decision. on
busting his
whether-
ass to get back is
Yeah,
gonna
but it's
know
not
if
his
I'm ruled out
decision.
yet or if I'm eligible for the game as of that point.
But
So
it's
the
not his
day of the
decision whether he's
fucking
eligible or not. It's the team's decision. He can say every player is going to say they're 100%.
He didn't say it's 100%.
No. But what I'm
You got to
saying is
hear me
every
if you're going to reply to me, Tigo. You're stepping on me everything I say today. Let me finish my point. As the day of that tweet came out, he said, I haven't been ruled out yet for week 1. I'm busting my ass to get back. I'm on schedule. Everything looks good going forward. So as long as there's not a setback, they expect him to be there. He expects to be there week 1. But he has not been ruled out yet for week 1.
the point that I was making is he expects that. I don't care necessarily what the player expects, because the player, no matter what ailment they're going, we all played sports growing up. It didn't matter how hurt you were. every player is going to say, no, I'm 100%. I'm not saying that he will be 100%. What I'm saying is every player is going to say, no, put me in, because every player wants to be the reason that they win. What I'm saying is that the decision ultimately comes down to the medical staff and whether or not they believe he's ready. And so right now, until I hear otherwise from the organization, Dobbins is a question mark to play. And that's what I was trying to get at. Not trying to say that he's saying that he's 100% healthy. That's not what I was getting at. What I was just trying to say is, like, it's not his decision. It's the organization's decision whether or not they decide to play it.
Correct. And he said, I haven't been told I'm ruled out yet. So I don't know how somebody can have that report. Like, I don't know how Rappaport was saying that. It was basically what he called Rappaport out for that day.
Because
right now,
the Ravens, maybe someone in the Ravens told him different.
Right now, Dobbins is basically stalking the sidelines, basically imploring the coaches to let him practice, and they're basically saying, no, not yet. We'll let you know when you're ready. The doctors have to clear you. So, hey, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak right now. Sorry to tell you that, Aaron, but that's where you are right now.
And Grandizer, I saw your comment earlier about me being back. Thank you, buddy. Last time you saw me, I was in the hospital, but
like we said, with one shoulder pulled down on that hospital gown, which we don't need to see ever
coincidence again. That was the week that our friend Jeremy here hit 1,000. Don't think so.
Thank you, Grandizer. You are a class act and a good friend. I appreciate you.
Grandizer with an interesting idea. I need a Ravens content creator to jump in. Yeah, I'd like to get a Ravens perspective from somebody who doesn't actually think they're going to go 14-3 and doesn't think this is the second coming of the 85 Bears defense. You know,
well, just a more look. I mean, look, Aaron Butler. I have no problem with fans of a team that are homers and love their team. I've done it. I've had years where I go in. Like last year, you can consider me a homer based on I thought we'd be a lot better than we were. And maybe even we're homers now. We don't even know it. It's going to show that we're homers. But the reality is I'm not going to blame – I'm not going to knock the guy for loving his team and having the attitude of here we come, we're going to kick butt, we're going to destroy people, we're going 14-3. I'm not going to knock someone for that. But obviously he's not the answer as far as a content provider coming on and joining me, right? Like if we're going to talk to a Ravens content provider – I want it to be somebody who's a little bit more balanced and a little bit more, like it has to be someone
less fanboy, more rational, right?
Less fanboy. Someone who's more critical.
Hope springs eternal every opening day in the NFL. There are 32 teams as of today that have hope, that are thinking that we're going to do great things. Everyone's got it. Content providers are more likely to be more rational with it and less on the edge of tipping over like the fandom, right?
Well, yeah, I don't want to bring on a cheerleader. I want to bring on someone that's going to have a discussion. I don't want to, you know what I mean? I want to have a discussion. Like, here's where we, someone like we say we're worried about our run defense. We're worried about our depth at our offensive line. We're worried about our linebacker depth. What if CJ Mosley gets hurt? Like, I want a guy like that who could sit there and talk like from both sides of it. We're excited about these guys. We don't think, but here's the things that we're concerned about. Here's where what can, put us off track, that could sidetrack us. I mean, if I could find a Ravens content provider that's like that, it would be an interesting show. I would love to have that. I mean, I think we're going to get that for some other teams because I've met some people now. Like I got introduced through the Postman on Pure General Sports. I met a Buffalo Bills fan who's a very good guy, reasonable guy, and I think we could have a great conversation on the show together.
Yeah, and Aaron, who is the Ray Lewis, the Ed Reed, and the Rod Woodson on this defense?
I mean, you're saying Hamilton's going to be Ed Reed year one, his rookie year?
Come on.
We'll rival the Ravens too. Come on, Aaron. That's over the top.
That's a lot, dude.
This, Aaron, you know how crazy that statement is? This is the first thing that all four of us are agreeing on tonight. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's coming from
the secondary is elite. The secondary is top notch. And I know there's always guys and the Ravens always find guys in the front who are Michael Clemens, bring your lunch pail, outwork everybody. And they do a very good job of finding guys that fit their scheme and what they want each guy to do at each position. But in the rules of the NFL nowadays, you're never going to see a defense like the Ravens 2000.
The only way we're going to
a lot of credibility that statement. And you, as a fan of the Ravens, knowing how great that defense was and how rare and what that defense was able to do
special.
week in and week out, you're shitting on the 2000 Ravens by comparing anybody to them, not just your own team, any defense. That defense is the best I've ever seen. And I was
agree.
alive for the 85 Bears and the 86 Giants. And I say that Ravens team, with the way the offensive explosion was in that era and what they were able to do to opponents, I don't know how you could say that as a fan with a straight face.
That was the first
that's
team that
silly.
made me truly believe in the phrase that defense wins you championships.
Watching them
Trent
play was
Dilfer.
really
How can it not?
Dilfer.
It's a silly statement to compare a team.
Quick, name what? Yeah,
That-
quick.
that
Name a
year,
wide
that
receiver on
year.
the
It's
Ravens
silly.
of that era. How many can you name? Brandon
What?
Stokely. How many wide receivers from that Ravens team can you name?
Oh, there was a Smith.
I don't
84. 84.
Someone with a J?
I think Brandon Stokely was there, and I know Jermaine
Brandon
Lewis
Stokely was
returned
there.
kicks.
Todd Heap was the tight end. Jamal
Todd
Lewis
Heap
was
was
the
there.
running
I
back.
remember
Right,
Trent
Lewis.
Dilfer. You want to go defense? You had Saragusa, you had Suggs, you had Ray Lewis, you had McAllister.
Rod
you
Woodson
had,
was a
some guy
safety.
named Ed Reed.
Rod Woodson was a safety for that team, for God's
Yeah.
sakes.
Who was the other line? Saragusa was the run stuffer who
Syracuse was
pancaked Rich Gannon in the playoff game and knocked Rich Gannon out, landed on his shoulder.
Look, the like you can't. There's certain defenses. Chicago Bears in '85, the New York Giants '86, the New York Jets sack exchange. Like, we're not sitting here saying the Jets defensive line is going to be as good as the sack exchange. If anyone was saying that right now and making that claim that our defensive line is going to be as good
Ultimate
as
homers.
the New York sack exchange, you're out of your mind.
You
You're
gotta
out
send
of your
them.
mind, and you're not understanding how good that defensive line was and how they changed the game of football. They created the sack statistic. So, I mean, there's certain things that are just ridiculous to say. Baltimore defense 2000 was Bears 85, Giants 86. It was one of the top elite defenses in history. Like, it was ridiculous. And you just can't go around saying, oh, I know you're hyped about your team, but to sit there and say it's as good as the 2000 team, you're just disrespecting your own team's history. You're disrespecting what the 2000 Ravens defense was. Because you don't just throw that out there. You have to earn that. You have to actually do it before you claim to be that. That's like magic when you have one of those seasons. You don't predict that and claim that. You prove that. So wait till the end of the year and say
I'm
that.
sorry. Yeah, last year the Ravens gave up 6,178 yards. That's 24th
In a row?
in the league. Yeah.
In a row?
6,178 yards. And for points, they allowed 392. That's smack dab in the middle. And you're talking about them going to the 2000 level. Go ahead, Tino.
That be
Who gave up
to
what,
play
100?
devil's advocate here with Aaron. That defense was decimated last year.
We know
that
that.
team
We know
was
that, yeah.
incredibly injured, and Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamilton are upgrades. But you're talking about Marcus Williams coming into the first week of a new team in a new system, and rookie Kyle Hamilton. It's just not the same thing, man.
Hey guys, I have to go. But do you guys want to keep the show going? I can leave. Adam's got the controls. We can keep it going. But I do
I'm
have to.
gonna have to. I gotta go. The boy is
All
here, and I got the job interview tomorrow, so I gotta get some things in order. So,
Prayers up.
gentlemen,
Go kill it tomorrow, okay?
yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
guys, I want
Good
to
luck,
thank.
sir.
Yeah, we'll
I
call
want
it.
to
First,
thank.
I'm gonna kill it, but I'm gonna kill it in the interview like the 2000 and Ravens did.
Guys, I want to thank everybody in the chat. Thanks for the activity. Thanks for being active. Thanks for keeping the show going. As always, thank you for the super chats. Those of you that did that, I appreciate that support. Thanks to the panel, everybody here. Thanks. Welcome back, Tigo. Happy to have
Thank
you
you,
back,
sir.
my friend. I hope the baby is doing well. Adam, thanks again. Thanks for joining, Nick. Tonight was a lot of fun. We're gonna have
Yes.
guests next week that I'm in the process of lining up. So keep in touch. It's a really likable guy. You're gonna love him. I'm not gonna say more than that. But everybody, thanks for showing up. Proud New York Jets fan on YouTube. Proud New York Jets fan. So make sure you subscribe. Talking Jets with Tigo. Make sure you subscribe. Adam, what the hell's the name of your channel? I can't say it.
NY Sports Wicker Media.
NY Sports Wicker Media. You can find any of these YouTube channels simply by putting them in the search. Really easy. And one day I'll actually catch up and do what I say I'm going to do, which is put them all in my bio so they're easier to find. But I'm sure most of you out there are already subscribed. But if you're not subscribed to all three of these guys, go ahead and give them the sub right now, please. We need them sub too. We need to help them grow their channels. They're here doing great work. They deserve your support. So go give it to them. And I'll leave you with this. Don't not be Thibodeau. And here it comes. It's about to come in. Oh, my God. They didn't. They took Sauce Gardner. Oh, my God. They don't want an edge. Maybe he likes Jermaine Johnson at 10. Then we're not going to get a wide receiver? Garrett Wilson, wide receiver. Oh, my God. No edge.
Was sitting there.
The Jets traded up. The Jets traded up. Are we taking JJ? Are we taking JJ? Because I know Braden is in New Zealand saying, we should get Young, Mike. He's definitely saying that. JJ! We got Johnson! We got Johnson at 26! We got Johnson at 26! This is great! Yes! They took Roger McCreary. They didn't take Dean. We traded up. We can get Jacoby Dean. We can get Jacoby Dean. Really is. They took Breece Hall. They took Breece Hall. Wow. I mean, look, I love Breece Hall. But there's also Jeremy Ruckert, who I think is the best tight end in the class personally. They took Jeremy Ruckert. They took Jeremy Ruckert. Yes! We got a Jeremy. We got a Jeremy. Oh, and the Jets pick, and it's Max Mitchell, offensive tackle. We needed that. That's wow. We took Michael Clemens. I never heard of him. A defensive edge.